welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am the Nosy Witch and this is my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. If this is your first time here, just a heads up, I do collective pick-a-card readings here on YouTube. My readings do tend to be pretty long, they tend to be deep dives, so feel free to grab a hot or cold beverage of choice, get settled, get cozy, because we have a lot to get through today. Today's reading is titled, What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? Alignment and Blessings Entering 2026. And I wanted to do this reading because we are swiftly approaching the end of 2025 and preparing to move into this new year. And I always feel like the new year is such a powerful time for essentially like clearing out the old BS and giving ourselves a genuine fresh start. And honestly, for a lot of us, that fresh start feels way overdue. Some of us have been feeling this kind of restless urge to reset for like months now. I know I have personally, like I've been clearing out my house, I've been getting rid of the old junk, I've been making space for new things, I've been reorganizing and recalibrating, and some of you have been feeling this way for a while now too. Why did I want to say some of you have been feeling this way since the start of 2025? I feel like I say this every year, but truly these astrological transits have not been easy. 2025 has tested us, life has been lifing, and some of us entered the new year feeling really enthusiastic and motivated. We were like, let's get this, and then of course life threw a few curveballs our way, and suddenly it was like, you know what, let's maybe try again next year. Like, let's just do a full factory reset and enter 2026 with a clear slate. Having closed out some of those old cycles and fully prepared for the blessings and good karma we know that we very much deserve at this point. So if you are ready for 2026 to be your year, this reading is for you. This is your factory reset. This reading is all about the big changes and things finally starting to shift in your favour as we exit 2025 and step into 2026. Rather than doing a full predictive overview of the entire year, this reading focuses specifically on alignment, blessings and positive shifts. Numerologically speaking, 2025 is a year 9. It's a year of endings, completion and release. And 2026 is a year 1, which carries initiation energy. You know, it's all about new beginnings and fresh starts. So if you're ready for a change in your life, let's get this, come on. So in terms of the reading breakdown, how this reading is going to work, this reading looks at the first 3 major blessings or shifts coming into alignment for you. For some of you, these may be things that happen before the year fully ends, things you're already starting to come into, and for others, they may be the first big changes that unfold in 2026. We are all on different timelines here. Some of you may need to pack things up and move on more urgently, whilst others of you might feel like, you know, I need more time to prepare for this blessing, but I do know that it's on its way to me. So the intention here is to help you move into your next chapter, feeling confident, feeling uplifted, and feeling aligned. We're going to begin the reading by looking at a selection of oracle cards to explore the overall themes and energetic focus of your year ahead. This isn't a deep dive into specific events, it's more of a high-level snapshot of what you're moving away from and what you're moving towards and how alignment is beginning to settle in for you guys. You can use this section as an energy check and as confirmation that you've chosen the right pile. If you don't relate to any of the things we mentioned during the energy check, I would recommend choosing a different pile. And from there, we are going to move on to the 3 blessings portion of the reading. This is where we look at 3 tarot cards at a time and explore the specific areas of life coming into alignment for you. This is where we get into all the juicy details. We talk about cycles closing, emotional shifts, external changes, and what's opening up next. We're going to do this 3 times for a total of 9 tarot cards, representing the year 9 we are leaving behind. Just a quick note about the blessings. For some of you, these may be 3 completely separate blessings, but I think it's more likely that for most of you, these blessings will form more of a linear narrative. It's more of like a story progression rather than just 3 separate things. You know, so for example, if one of your blessings is like an increase in confidence, let's say, you know, that might lead to a later blessing because these things don't exist in a vacuum. You know, you having more confidence might mean you putting yourself out there more, attracting more dating opportunities or job opportunities as just one example. But it will become clear as the reading unfolds whether these feel more like random bursts of luck or whether this is part of a larger trajectory, which I think for most of you it probably will be. We're going to end each pile with some tea leaf confirmations for extra clarity. These may highlight themes to watch for, signs to pay attention to, or little nudges from the universe as you move forward. In terms of the disclaimers, this reading is timeless. Whenever you find it is exactly the right time, whether that's now, whether it's partway through 2026, or even years from now. If you are feeling called to make a shift, this reading is absolutely for you. You're also welcome to choose more than one pile if more than one is calling to you, and a gentle reminder that this is a collective reading. Take what resonates and leave the rest for somebody else. You do not have to claim anything as your story if it doesn't feel aligned. If I say that one of your blessings is dating someone new and you're not interested in dating, congratulations, you are not obligated to take these blessings or to date anyone. I'm not holding you hostage here. I really appreciate you guys commenting to let me know what resonates. You can never overshare with me. Claiming your pile in the comments is one of the best ways to support this channel. Feel free to leave affirmations for yourself or for others, welcoming love, money, friendship, abundance, success, confidence, or whatever blessings you are calling in. All respectful comments are welcome, but unkindness, bigotry, or disrespect will be banished, rebuked, and returned straight back to sender. This reading is meant to be uplifting and empowering, but if at any point it doesn't feel supportive to your journey, please protect your energy and click away. You are always welcome back another time. So in terms of the piles, I don't really have any Christmassy tarot decks, but I do have some cute festive stickers that I wanted to use. I don't know if this reading will be up before or after Christmas. God only knows. My internet is slow and YouTube does what it wants, and my brain sometimes takes its time too. My brain is sometimes pretty slow. But, you know, I wanted to share these stickers with you guys because they're cute. I use them for journaling. So yeah, but to all those who celebrate, Merry Christmas to you and yours, first of all. Happy winter solstice. This reading definitely will not go up before the winter solstice. But yay to the days getting longer in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you don't celebrate either of those things, happy holidays regardless. You are still very welcome here, and I hope this season brings you rest, care, and appreciation. With that said, today we have 5 piles to choose from. So over here we have pile 1 with the Botan Tarot and the Jingle Bells sticker. Over here we have pile 2 with the Modern Witch Tarot and the Santa sticker. Over here we have pile 3 with the Pacific Northwest Tarot and the Snowman sticker. Over here we have pile 4 with the Cosy Witch Tarot and the Candy Cane Hot Chocolate sticker. And over here we have pile 5 with the Inspired Neon Tarot and the Gift/Present sticker. Once you've chosen your pile, please head to the pinned comment or the description box below. Timestamps will be listed there and they will take you straight to the start of your chosen reading. Before we begin, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. It's been nearly 2 years on this channel and I'm so grateful to every single one of you. You have genuinely restored my faith in humanity. I won't get too soppy here because I've done that before on so many readings. But your kindness, your comments, your support, your shares, and your hype means more to me than you could ever know. Knowing that I've helped even just one person makes all of this so worth it. So thank you for being here. Let's end this year with a bang. And I'll see you at your chosen pile collective. Hi Pile 1 Collective, if you chose the Botan Tarot and you chose the Jingle Bell sticker and you chose Pile 1, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. If you would like the full details on what to expect from today's reading, please check out my introduction. I do go through absolutely everything there. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect. But first of all, happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourselves as we move through this transition. This reading today is titled, What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? Alignment and Blessings Entering 2026. So this reading is for those of you who are done carrying old energy and you are ready to step into 2026 clearer, lighter, and more aligned because things are shifting in your favour. And if that resonates, take it as a confirmation that you are exactly where you're meant to be. So without hesitation, let's get started and let's take a look at the first few oracle cards that we pulled for you. These represent the overarching energy of your year ahead, and as mentioned in the intro, you can use this portion as an energy check before we move deeper into your blessings. Okay, so from the Wise Witch Oracle, we've got Serenity. Find serenity in nature's embrace. Nature is your sanctuary. And from the Hecate Oracle, we have got Bearer of Love, Compassion and Kindness. From the Modern Witch Spiritual deck, we have got Conflict in reverse. And from the Believe in Your Own Magic deck, we have got number 36, Gold. You don't need someone else to fix you. So I like to start these readings by mentioning the confirmations I'm getting right off the bat. These are just intuitive little pings for very specific people. If none of these apply to you, that does not mean that this isn't your pile, so don't panic. These are just extra confirmations for those that they resonate with. So I always like to start by mentioning the numbers on the cards, and the first thing that's standing out to me is this number 36, which also breaks down into 3 and 6, and of course 9 as a total. Any of these numbers could be relevant for you in some way. So in terms of a date, an age, a month, a life path, an angel number or synchronicity you're seeing a lot of, or an astrological house or the sign associated with that house. So some of you could be 36 years old, for example. Some of you could be born on the 3rd or 6th of a month or the 9th of a month. This could point to March, June, or September birthdays, or it could point to placements connected to Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius. Just take note if that means something to you. It doesn't have to, of course. I'm also getting a very strong visual of gold. Someone here either wears gold jewelry a lot, or has recently bought gold jewelry, or just always looks really, really great in gold. You know, gold necklaces, rings, even gold eyeshadow or a gold dress, that could be relevant for somebody specific. Somebody here wears reading glasses, or somebody has recently been to the opticians for an eye test. Somebody here wears a lot of headbands, or often has their hair in braids or in plaits. Someone here is watching or re-watching Stranger Things. I don't know why, but something about this conflict card, I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but it reminds me of like the Demogorgon heads. So if that means something to you, take it. Someone has been to a christening recently. Somebody has a chalice on their altar. Somebody has recently been to church, and I'm getting specifically communion. I'm seeing those little round bread pieces. I know that's very specific. Somebody here could be named Serenity, or somebody could have a virtue name connected to them. So something like hope or grace, faith, joy, patience, something along those lines, a virtue name. Someone has recently walked under an archway. I know that's very random, but I'm seeing especially an archway decorated with lights or flowers. So maybe something at like a Christmas market or some kind of festive display. I'm also getting something about Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. I'm not sure why, so Aerosmith songs could be relevant, the name Steven or Steve, 70s music, rock bands, dramatic hair, and honestly something about mullets is coming through. I don't know who that's for, but that's for somebody. And finally, someone has just bought new kitchenware, specifically bowls or ramekins. Alright, so those are just the random confirmations for specific people. Let's move into the actual energy of your year ahead, pile one. So I want to talk about this conflict card first, because the interesting thing is I almost never really take oracle cards in reverse, and to be honest, they rarely ever come out that way, but this conflict card insisted on being reversed, and honestly, it does make perfect sense with the rest of your spread. So the first thing I want to say to you guys, pal one, and I think some of you will feel really relieved hearing this, but it's that 2026 is moving you into a much more peaceful and serene chapter of your life. So if conflict has been a big theme for you in 2025, whether that's internal conflict or external disagreements, it feels like this is really finally starting to wind down. For some of you, that conflict could have showed up as like constant disruptions to your routine, feeling like you could never fully get started because it was just one thing after another is something I get in, like something always came up to disrupt it. You know, chaos in your environment or between people around you, feeling like you have to fight to be heard, a kind of 5 of Wands sort of energy, feeling like it was difficult to take up space or to keep the peace, or feeling just like you were always in a battle with your own mind even, what you should do versus what you want to do. For others of you, it feels like life itself was a struggle, like everything just had to be hard. You know, even choosing a path or making a decision took way more energy than it should have done. Well, that cycle is coming to an end, you might be pleased to know. And for many of you, this shift is happening because you choose peace. Either you remove the source of the conflict, you like pluck it out at the root is something I'm getting, or the universe removes it for you so that you can finally slow down. There's something here about slow living being highlighted, honouring your natural rhythms instead of constantly pushing. It's like you're learning that you don't have to fight your body or your mind or your energy anymore. Some of you are healing from burnout. Some of you are getting out of fight or flight mode. Some of you, especially those of you who are women or AFAB, you may be healing hormonal or cycle-related issues or simply learning to work with your body instead of against it. I actually see a lot more self-compassion this year. You're also becoming much less stressed about things that just don't concern you and very much getting a sort of let them mentality. You're not engaging in unnecessary conflict, you are choosing grace, but you are also choosing yourself. There's a decision being made here, I think, and once it's made, the inner conflict around it just kind of stops. I feel like you're learning this year that it's okay to prioritize your own peace, that it's not your job to fix everything, and that rest is not something that you have to earn. And because of that, I see you stepping into this really beautiful, I want to say Empress-like energy, you know, very receptive, very magnetic, abundant. You're allowing people to give back to you and you're getting more comfortable with receiving. I actually also see you getting a lot of compliments this year and giving compliments too. It's like your cup is really running over with love and people are recognizing your value. But the key thing here is that you don't have to try so hard for it anymore. It happens just by you existing. Now let's talk about this gold card. You know, this feels like the year where you realize like, oh, I was the magic all along. This is a huge confidence building year for you. If you guys have been on the fence about starting something or sharing something or just like putting yourself out there in some way, it's like you suddenly realize that you have been sitting on a gold mine this whole time. Last year may have felt like you were mining for gold, but this year you realize you already owned it. It's that kind of energy. There's a real like Midas touch energy here. Everything you touch turns to gold this year. Things come together more easily. You know, opportunities flow, recognition arrives without force. It's like you're offering something universal, like how gold is a universal currency. It's something that speaks to everyone. And interestingly, you know, gold supposedly has cosmic origins. It comes from massive cosmic events. So for some of you, there's even a feeling of reconnecting with your cosmic self, your kind of otherworldly side, your intuition and your own magic. I also see a theme of a possible digital detox, something about retreats or just simply stepping away from overstimulation, less scrolling and more time in nature, more serenity, replacing old habits with ones that actually nourish you. Getting out in nature a lot more, I feel like that could be a really, really big part of your year in 2026. But overall, Power One, this is a really, really cool start because this year feels a lot more easy than what you're used to. It feels like alignment. It feels like finally striking gold and realizing you didn't have to fight so hard to find it, like you had the treasure all along. So with that said, Power One, let's move your oracle cards to one side and let's have a look at your first few tarot cards. And this will represent your first blessing of 2026. Okay, pile one. So we have got the Two of Pentacles reversed. We have got the Hanged One upright. And we have got the Two of Cups upright. Beautiful. So Power One, I think this first blessing really paints a picture of what 2025 may have felt like for you guys and what you're moving towards now. So we've got the Two of Pentacles reversed, the Hanged One upright, and the Two of Cups upright. And straight away, that Two of Pentacles reversed feels very familiar. This looks like the energy you've been in before. You know, too much, too many plates spinning, overstimulation, overwhelm, struggling to maintain balance or find your own rhythm. And for some of you, this has been very, very internal. You may not have felt like yourself for some time. Maybe you guys have been struggling to stick to routines. You're struggling with mood swings, you know, big emotional highs and lows. Or you just haven't been able to find that baseline where you feel consistently centered and steady. For others of you, this could be due to some kind of external pressure. It doesn't have to be one or the other, it could be both. But I'm thinking of like pressure at work, domestic labor, relationship demands, feeling like essentially you have to be everything to everyone, you know, managing other people's emotions, conflicts, or responsibilities, that sort of thing. It's the feeling of being kind of buried under rubble. It's like we said, one thing after another with no real space to like breathe or rest. Either way, the common theme is it became too much to carry, and that's important because this blessing only arrives once you reach that point of honesty with yourself. This is about a huge shift in perspective, and I want to be really clear when I say that. You know, when we talk about having a new perspective with that Hanged One specifically, this is not a case of like, oh, you just needed to think more positively about this. Like, if you were overwhelmed, it's because the demands were genuinely overwhelming. That wasn't imagined. I'm not trying to gaslight you here. What changes here is not necessarily just your mindset. It's about something tangible clicking into place. This blessing is about finding a solution that actually works with you. For some of you, that solution does come internally. You know, this is you being able to find that time to pause, to step back, to surrender to the idea that you have to keep pushing in the same way. And in that pause, you meet yourself more honestly. You confront your own needs, your limits, your vulnerabilities with a lot more compassion. And it's like an idea pops into your head and you're like, well, wait, you know, what if I just did it this way? And it's a way that feels more sustainable. It clicks into place. It feels possible and manageable. And for others of you, this blessing is more external. So this could be help showing up for you. It's the moment where support arrives. You finally say, you know, I can't keep carrying this. And instead of being dismissed, you are met halfway. Someone steps in, steps up, something shifts, and suddenly you realize, wow, this actually works. Like, this feels fair now. And that's where that Two of Cups comes in. This is reciprocity, it's balance, it's mutual effort. It's a situation, whether it's a relationship or a job or even your relationship with yourself, it's starting to feel like a true give and take instead of a constant drain. For many of you, it feels like you had to reach that Two of Pentacles breaking point before you could admit out loud or internally even that the way things were couldn't continue. So I'm going to try and give a couple of examples just to anchor this energy. These don't have to relate to you specifically. It's just to put this into context. So for some of you, this could be something deeply personal, like finally realizing that something affecting your own confidence or your mental health isn't actually a flaw in you. It's circumstantial and it has a solution. So it could be, you know, like we mentioned, hormonal, environmental, chemical, something you can actually adjust. Like, once you take a step back and you look at it objectively, something clicks and it's like, oh, like that's why I haven't felt like myself. And when that shifts, you start to feel grounded again. You feel like you again. So for example, if you notice, I've been feeling like crap since I started this medication, maybe it's about speaking to your doctor and adjusting the medication. Maybe the side effects are too much with this one and you want to try a different one. And for others of you, you know, this could show up in very real world ways. You know, at work, it could be you finally saying, I can't keep carrying this whole team, and being met with understanding instead of resistance. Maybe you're encouraged to rest or to take time off. Maybe tasks get redistributed and suddenly you realize like, oh, I actually enjoy this job when I'm not completely drowning. In relationships, this can be a moment of vulnerability that changes everything. It's that moment where you finally say, look, I need more help. I need you to meet me halfway. And the other person does, like they step up, they take something off your plate, they encourage you to rest. And for the first time in a long time, it feels like a true partnership instead of a battle. No matter how this shows up for you, the feeling is the same. It's this moment of stepping back, of being able to catch your breath and realizing I see myself again. Where before there was no space, like no time to reflect, no room to even exist, you now have enough peace to think clearly. And in that clarity, you find something that works, something sustainable, and something you feel like you can actually keep doing long term. This blessing is about things becoming more fair, more manageable, more balanced. It's compassion, either from others or, you know, you giving compassion to yourself, creating harmony essentially where there used to be some strain. And once this clicks into place, it's not a fleeting thing. It's actually something you build on, something you protect because it feels too good and too right to go back to how things were before. So that is your first blessing, pile one. Let's move on to your second blessing. Just going to move at your cards. Okay, so we have got the Page of Swords. We've got the Four of Swords. And we've got the Page of Wands. So I feel like your second blessing, pile one, it does link directly to your first blessing. This is like a story continuing, which I love. So yeah, we got the Page of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Page of Wands. And what this feels like in a sentence is you essentially entering an era where you are no longer being driven by obligation and hypervigilance is something that I'm getting. It's like you're being guided by instinct and wonder and creativity again. This is big, like finding out who I am again. Energy is something that I want to say. And it's funny I'm saying energy because for some of you, if you've genuinely been struggling with your energy levels, as just one example, this is literally a blessing where your energy returns like a sudden burst of enthusiasm. That feeling of, oh my God, I want to do things again. Like I actually want to do things again. The urge to participate in life, that spark coming back. This can look like rediscovering passions, getting curious again, trying things again, and not being so afraid to act on something just because it's spontaneous. But the reason this happens, and this is the really important part, it's because you also have the Four of Swords here. This blessing comes through because you're being given, or you are finally giving yourself, sacred rest. And I'm actually getting the phrase getting your groove back. You're getting your groove back, and it's directly connected to the way you're learning to rest, because I can imagine for you, pal one, and I say this with zero judgment because I'm like this too, some of you have not been the best when it comes to real rest. I mean this lovingly, but there is a difference between lying down in your pajamas and actually resting. Some of you rest in the way that your body is horizontal, you're lying down, but your brain is essentially like still running a full office shift. Like you're in the bath with your candles, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh my God, I need dog food. Like, do I have the ingredients for dinner? I forgot about my children's dance recital. I should check that email. I should make sure that everything's handled. You're thinking about all the things that you need to do, which isn't actual rest. It's just you lying down. It's not rest. It's cognitive labor in a bubble bath. And it's not your fault because, when you spent a long time in survival mode, switching off can sometimes feel unsafe. So this blessing is partly about you learning to trust that you don't always need to be on guard. And the Page of Swords really shows that, because the Page of Swords is very watchful, very alert. It's that part of you that's scanning for problems. It's that like, oh, let me just check energy, like let me just make sure nothing is going wrong. And for many of you, that's been necessary for a while. You've been the one who holds it all together, the one making sure everything's done right, the one who fixes, the one who anticipates. It's giving me this energy of like a first-time mum, like the first time the mum leaves the house and leaves the baby with a babysitter. It's that urge to just be like, oh, but let me just check the baby cam. Like, let me make sure that the babysitter's doing everything right so they can't really enjoy their night. I'm not saying it's that example, it just gives me that energy. But the blessing here is like you starting to realize the world will not collapse if you take your hands off the wheel for a second, okay? And this can show up in a very real way. Someone agrees to help you, someone steps up, they actually meet you halfway, like we got earlier with that Two of Cups. But at first, it's like you're still sort of in that Page of Swords energy. You're still like, okay, but what if they do it wrong though? Like, what if they forget? What if it goes wrong? Will I have to rescue it? Like I always do. So you try it, you let it happen. You stay ever so slightly vigilant. You have your phone nearby, and then it works. Nothing catches fire. The house doesn't burn down. No one dies. The kids make it to their dance recital. The task gets done. The world continues spinning. And the moment you have that evidence, something in you kind of unclenches for good. And that's that Four of Swords. That's that exhale. That's you realizing, oh, I'm safe to rest. Like, I'm allowed to stop. I don't need to earn this. And when you finally get that kind of rest, the kind of rest that's actually restful, your spirit starts coming back online, is something I'm getting. And that's your Page of Wands. That's your spark returning. That's the like, oh wait, I want to actually do things again. Energy, it's spontaneity, it's curiosity, creativity, fun, play, inspiration, wonder. Because I think for some of you, you've had moments where it's like you've wanted to do something, maybe try a new hobby or, go on a trip, take a class or socialize more or learn something, go back to school, start a project, whatever it is. But you've kind of shut it down immediately because you were like, I can't, I have obligations, I have no time, I have no energy. I have to be responsible. And over time, that can make life feel a little bit flat, like you're not really passionate about anything, you're just kind of surviving. But in 2026, you are being given more freedom, not just physically, but mentally too, to follow these little bursts of inspiration, to kind of act in the moment more, to be able to say like, heck yeah, let's just do it, instead of overthinking it for days and letting the momentum pass. I feel like this has something to do with you setting better boundaries with yourself and with others, know, choosing not to respond to that email on the weekend, putting your phone down, giving yourself time without guilt, and creating space that belongs to you. And within that space, you rediscover who you are outside of your responsibilities, like who you are outside of what you can do for other people. That doesn't have to define you. So yeah, this is you trying new things, being a little bit braver, a bit more experimental, maybe changing your style. You could be dyeing your hair, trying a new class, trying out new food, new restaurants, or like booking a trip, booking something impulsively is what I'm getting. You're like, F it, I'm just going. And the biggest shift is like you are approaching life with curiosity rather than caution. You're a lot less guarded, you're a lot more open and more excited again. And for some of you, you know, if the Two of Cups from the first blessing we spoke about relates to a person, romantic or otherwise, this could also be you feeling safer in that connection. Like instead of sitting around waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for something to go wrong, you're like, oh, like we're good, I can breathe, this is good, I can relax into this, I can just be me. So overall, pile one, this second blessing is rest that actually restores you, leading to inspiration that actually moves you. And honestly, that is a really gorgeous energy. It's a really gorgeous trade. So let's move these cards to one side and let's have a look at your third and final blessing for 2026, pile one. Okay, pile one, so we have got the Five of Cups reversed, we've got the Ten of Wands, and we have got the King of Swords. Alright, pile one, let's talk about your third blessing, because this one feels like the moment where everything we've talked about so far really locks into place. So Five of Cups reversed, Ten of Wands, and the King of Swords. Okay, straight away, this feels like you being officially done. Done with certain cycles, done in a way where you're confident you're not going to repeat those cycles. And this isn't in like a dramatic way, it's not reactive, it's actually very calm. It's that kind of clarity where you have seen enough now is something I'm getting. Like you've experienced life with certain boundaries in place and life without those boundaries in place. And you're just like, yeah, like going back doesn't make sense. So this year shows you something different. It's something lighter, it's clearer, it's healthier. It's to the point where you know that it would not be in your best interest to return to how things were before. And the blessing here is that clarity. It's not selfishness, it's just clarity. Because with this King of Swords, you really understand that continuing to sacrifice yourself doesn't help anyone. Not you and not the people around you either. So when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to saying no and stepping back and just, you know, allowing people to fix their own damn problems, not putting your life on hold to attend to messes that aren't actually yours, you're not going to feel the same guilt that you may have felt in the past. If that guilt was ever there, it gets much quieter now. Like decisions become easier. There's far less like in and ahhing. Like, oh, should I say yes when I really mean no? Should I keep doing the heavy lifting even though it's breaking my back? Should I step in and fix this again? The answer comes to you more cleanly. It comes to you more quickly and also more calmly. You're clearer about what you need to feel okay, what you need to feel grounded, and what you need to feel mentally clear. And because of that, it becomes way easier to advocate for yourself. What I really love here, pile one, is that there's this sense of healthy detachment that's coming through. There's less overthinking, less worrying about fallout, less of you asking like, oh, what will happen if I don't? Because you realize that's not actually your problem. And I know that sounds simple, but for you, pal one, that's a massive realization, because for a long time, it felt as though everything was your problem, like it was all on you to fix or manage or smooth over or carry. And that's just not the case anymore. And, you know, obviously I do want to put a caveat here, like the circumstances are going to look different for everyone. And I want to be really clear on this because I do like to be realistic. This is not about detaching from things you genuinely care about in a cold or avoidant way. So for example, if you are a parent, especially if you are like a primary caregiver, I'm not saying like, oh, detach from those toxic kids, babes. Put them up for adoption. That's not the message here. You know, some responsibilities are real, some roles are really important, and some things will always be demanding no matter what. But what is changing is the way you relate to that responsibility. So using the parenting thing as an example, maybe you start accepting help more easily. Maybe you stop feeling guilty for taking an hour or two to yourself. Maybe you realize, you know, I can't show up as my best self if I never restore myself. And instead of arguing with that truth, you accept it. And that's the shift here. And it's the same with work or whatever example this relates to for you. You might allow co-workers to pick up the slack without feeling like you have to check in constantly. You might actually be able to take a day off and mentally clock out without monitoring everything from a distance. You step out of that thing where you're like, oh, like I'll just make sure that, you know, everything's okay over there, what's happening over there. You step out of that narrative and you come back into your own life, and it leaves you feeling so much clearer. There's also something here about you catching yourself when that old fixing urge kicks in. And I'm actually getting an image in my head right now. I don't know why, but if you've seen the video clip of Cynthia fixing Ariana's necklace and Ariana saying something like, oh, she's getting the fixing itch, but then all the comments are like, oh, the necklace was fine, like the necklace was okay before. That's the energy here, you know, the necklace was fine before, you don't need to fix it. So when you feel the urge to like just check or just make sure or just step in quickly and just do this, it's going to be much easier for you to stop yourself, not in a harsh way, but like firmly and compassionately. Like you telling yourself, no, I said I wouldn't do that. I said that wouldn't be in my best interest. I don't need to interfere here. And you actually stick to it. You listen to the part of you that knows better now. A really clear example of this could be something like checking an ex's social media, for example. So this could relate to personal boundaries. You know, if that's ever been a thing for you, it doesn't have to be this exact example, but if you've ever struggled with like kind of going back on what you've said you will do or not do because you just feel the need to check, let's give that ex's social media example. If you know it will never leave you feeling good, but you keep doing it anyway, this is you finally saying like, we're not doing that anymore. And the difference now is it's easier. You don't feel deprived. You don't feel like you're resisting temptation. You just don't feel the pull as strongly because you're clearer about who you are and where you're going. And with the Five of Cups reversed, there's genuine hope returning here. It's not like forced toxic positivity. It's not pretending that things didn't hurt, but it's real hope. There's that sense of like, oh, life can be good again. You know, things are starting to fall into place again. There's more ahead of me than what I've already been through. So this third blessing is all about emotional weight lifting. It's about mental clarity sharpening and you stepping into this calm, grounded authority over your own life. You refusing to carry what isn't yours anymore. You're not repeating old cycles and you're just like finally allowing things to come easier. And honestly, Pal One, you've earned that. Like, good for you. So that is what I'm getting for your main blessings. We are just going to finish your reading by looking at some tea leaf cards for extra confirmation and clarity. So please bear with me and we'll have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, so we have got table, hard work ahead. We've got June. We've got July. And we have got key, successful outcome to your problems. Is that not what we were just saying? Honestly, I really feel like these cards tell a progressive story about your year ahead. So first of all, with that hard work ahead card, because this is a reading about blessings, I do not see this as anything to fear. It doesn't mean hard as in bad. This doesn't feel like new hard work being piled onto you, Pal One. It feels much more like work you've already done, finally leading somewhere good. You know, what this might speak to is how initially it may still feel a little bit challenging for you to fully lean into that flow state that we've been talking about. Letting go of control, especially when it feels like you've been the one holding everything together for so long. That can feel uncomfortable at first, but there's something really important here about your sturdiness, because when I think of a table, I think of something solid, grounded, hard to move at times. Like if you want to lift a table, unless it's one of those tiny little plastic kids picnic tables, you usually need some help, right? Like it's not a one-person job. And that feels very symbolic of your lesson and your blessing, because this doesn't exist in a vacuum. Like, yes, this is about you meeting yourself with more compassion and you becoming your own safe place, but it's also about learning how to accept help from others, you know, letting people meet you halfway and trusting that things can still be okay even when you're not the one doing everything. And that feels like your biggest hurdle of the year, Pal One, because you're so used to being the one who just handles it all that it's almost like you have rooted yourself in place, like a table that never gets moved, because you haven't allowed for teamwork, you haven't allowed other people to uplift you or to lift with you. But at the same time, I also want to acknowledge something here. You know, being that solid center has also kept you going. You've learned how to rely on yourself. You've learned how to be your own safe place. And now this blessing, it's all about expanding that, knowing that all parts of you deserve a seat at the table, including the part of you that needs more rest and support and ease in your life. Now, we've also got June and July coming through very clearly, as you can see. So the summer months in particular feel significant for you guys. It's very possible that summer 2026 looks completely different from summer 2025, and in a really, really blessed way. So if previous summers felt chaotic or imbalanced or like you couldn't find your center, this feels calmer, more aligned, and more abundant. It also feels kind of symbolic too. It's like you're entering the summer season of your life. And I know not everyone loves summer. Some people function better in autumn or winter. I get that. But symbolically, summer represents abundance, growth, longer days, higher energy, and things coming more easily, whereas winter can sometimes feel heavy or like we're slowing down, you know, energy can be lower, and yet we're often expected to push through anyway, so it feels harder. But summer, on the other hand, it works with us, you know, there's more light, there's more momentum, there's more natural flow, and that's what this feels like for you. You're moving into a phase where things come together more naturally, where you're working with your own rhythm instead of against it, where life feels more fruitful and where effort leads to visible results instead of burnout. And finally, we have the key, which is such a beautiful confirmation of just everything that we've talked about. There is a successful solution to your problems. Something clicks, something makes sense, like a key sliding into the right lock. Instead of forcing doors open, jamming the key, pushing, struggling, exhausting yourself, you find the right system, the right approach, the right way of doing things for you. And once you have that key, everything gets easier, it just clicks. You're not fighting anymore, you're not carrying everything alone, you're not repeating old cycles. You are unlocking a new way of living, one that's calmer and clearer and far more aligned. And honestly, Power One, that feels like a really, really powerful place to leave this reading. And that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. And before you go, if we don't speak again before we head into 2026, I just want to say a massive thank you. It's been nearly 2 years on this channel, and honestly, I would have absolutely given up by now if it wasn't for you guys. Your views, your likes, your hype, your comments, your shares, your kindness. You keep this channel alive. So knowing that these readings have helped even just one person makes all of it worth it, and I don't take that lightly at all. So if you'd like to support the channel, please do one of those things. Please claim your pile, tell me what resonated, tell me what you're calling in for 2026. Let's be loud about it. And whilst you're there, please hype each other up, you know, gas each other up in the comments, share the blessings, be nice, be encouraging. We are not gatekeeping abundance in this comment section. But for real, thank you for being here. I'm wishing you the happiest holiday season and a really peaceful end to the year and the most aligned, drama-free start to 2026. Please take care of yourselves. Don't forget who the hell you are. And I'm sending you lots of love. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, Pal One. Hi Pal 2 Collective, if you chose the Modern Witch Tarot and you chose the Santa sticker and you chose Pal 2, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. If you'd like the full details on what to expect from today's reading, I recommend checking out the introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But first of all, happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. I hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves as we move through this transition and prepare to step into a new year. This reading today is titled, What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? Alignment and Blessings Entering 2026. This reading is for those of you who are done overthinking, done waiting for perfect timing, and ready to trust yourselves again as you move into 2026. Because things are shifting in your favour and momentum is building fast. And if that resonates, take it as confirmation that you're exactly where you're meant to be. So without hesitation, let's get started and take a look at the first few oracle cards we pulled for you. These represent the overarching energy of your year ahead, and as mentioned in the intro, you can use this portion as an energy check before we move deeper into your blessings. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Pal 2. So over here from the Wise Witch Oracle, we have guidance. Seek guidance from within. The answers you seek are in the cards. From the Hecate Oracle, we have got Fate, flow with what is. From the Modern Witch Spiritual deck, we've got Inspiration. And from the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle, we have got number 16, Bitch Fire, Stand Up For Yourself. Okay, Palty, let's start with the confirmations coming through straight away. As always, these are just intuitive little pings for specific people. If none of them apply to you, that does not mean that this isn't your pile, so please don't worry. But the first thing I want to mention, starting off, is the number 16 on this Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle card. That also breaks down into 1 and 6 and even 7 if we add those numbers together. So any of these numbers could be relevant. That could be in terms of a date, a birthday, an age, a life path, an angel number or synchronicity you've been seeing a lot of. Somebody could be born on the 1st, 6th or 7th of a month or the 16th of a month. This could point to January or June birthdays, 1st or 6th house themes or Aries and Virgo energy. For some of you, the age of 16 or especially your teenage years may have been particularly significant. Maybe this is about wrapping up a cycle that has been going on since you were 16. Some of you could also be a life path 1, 6 or 7. So other random confirmations that I'm getting right off the bat, I'm hearing a solar return. So somebody here could have a birthday coming up very, very soon. Somebody here has an upcoming nail appointment or you've just booked a nail appointment. I'm getting stiletto shaped nails specifically. I'm also seeing red or black nail polish specifically. Somebody has recently had or has booked a new tattoo that is coming through. I'm also seeing bookshops, libraries, museums and art galleries very, very strongly. If you're in the UK, somewhere like Waterstones, that keeps popping up. But if you're elsewhere and visiting bookshops somewhere like Barnes and Noble, there could even be a new gallery or cultural space opening up near you in your city that could be relevant. Some of you guys are highly, highly intuitive. Some of you guys are readers yourself. Tarot, oracle cards, divination, that's coming through. Some of you have been like restocking your witchy supplies recently. So getting new crystals or herbs or candles, moon water, ritual tools, maybe even a new crystal ball that's coming through. It feels like you guys are really reconnecting with your practice if that applies. I'm also seeing redecorating a bathroom specifically. There's something about muted colours coming through. There's something about a fitness class coming through. I'm getting aerial fitness. Oh, what's it called? Is it calisthenics? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm sorry, but I'm seeing pole fitness as well. I'm seeing resistance training. And very randomly and very specifically, I'm also getting something about somebody looking out of a window naked, like they've just got out of the shower or something, and they've worried that they've been spotted. So I don't know whether that's happened to you recently. Maybe like somebody knocked at your door, like a delivery came just after you got out of the shower and you were like poking your head out to see who was there and you were worried that the person had spotted you if you were just in like a towel. I don't know who that's for, but that wanted to come out, so I just wanted to mention it. Some of you could have a passed on loved one who you still talk to, and I feel like there's something about them stepping in here too, offering guidance and encouragement, especially throughout your 2026. So something about a closer connection to a passed on loved one maybe. But all right, those are the confirmations. Let's get into your overall themes because this pile is loud, let me tell you that. And the first thing I wanted to say when I looked at your cards was, you lit the match and it cannot be unlit. Like something ignited for you in 2025, and it may have started relatively small. This could be a thought, an idea, a moment where you like finally spoke up about something or tentatively addressed something you've been holding back. But it's like now that spark is lit, it's not going out. There's no going back to how things were before because you have crossed that threshold. You've seen what you've seen, you know what you know, and once that happens, you can't unknow it. This is very divinely guided assertiveness energy is what I want to say, and a huge theme for you in 2026 is absolutely like less overthinking and more acting on instinct, because you're finally trusting that your instinct actually serves you. And I do want to pause here and mention something a little astrological because it may be really helpful for some of you guys. If this is resonating with you so far, you actually might want to check your progressed chart, especially your progressed sun or rising. I looked at mine recently on the recommendation of another reader. I can't remember who it was, but it was mentioned in a video I watched recently, and I thought, oh, you know what, like I'll check what my chart is up to, and it was wild. Like I'd shifted into much more fiery energy, and suddenly like everything made sense, even in terms of like why I wanted to like start a YouTube channel and things like that. It made sense why sort of planning and analysing had stopped working for me the way it used to, and why things started flowing more when I just sort of acted. So for some of you that could be relevant. It may be that you've moved into a new energetic season where action is rewarded more than sort of thinking or planning, where before your best results came from planning everything out, you know, thinking 10 steps ahead, analysing every angle. It's like now the universe is saying, no, we need to move, like try the thing, say yes, follow the pull. So if you've been confused lately, if you've been thinking like, you know, why does this way of doing things suddenly feel wrong? Or why do I get better results when I just sort of go for it? This could be why. Your intuition may be louder now than your logic, and that's actually intentional. You're learning through experience instead of sort of like pre-planning every outcome. And you know, when people hear like acting on instinct, it can sound a little bit chaotic or reckless, but that is not what this is. I just want to clarify, this is like soul-led action. And if anything, you've actually lived on the opposite side of the spectrum. So maybe you've thought yourself in circles. Maybe you're someone who usually considers every possible outcome to the point where it stopped you from acting at all. And this year, it feels like that changes. This is the year of doing the thing. It's the year of getting shit done, essentially. Like when you get a download or an idea or a nudge, you move. You don't wait for the perfect time. You don't talk yourself out of it. You trust that if the inspiration arrived, it arrived for a reason. And that isn't reckless. It's very much aligned. There's also a big theme of flow here, but it's not like passive flow. It's actually like a really balanced feminine and masculine kind of energy working together. This isn't so much like I'm going to sit back and let life happen. This is just, I don't need to force anything. Like when you're meant to act, you will know and you will act. And when something isn't meant for you, you won't chase it. Like you stop asking yourself, should I be doing more? Because you trust that when it's time, the guidance will present itself. Some of you may feel called to deepen your spiritual practice, you know, maybe pulling cards for yourself daily, maybe trusting your intuition more instead of outsourcing it. But you could also be guided towards teachers, mentors, or areas of learning and wisdom. This guidance could even come from the other side. It could come from ancestors or angels or loved ones walking with you, you feeling more connected to yourself spiritually. There's also this huge creative theme here. This energy actually reminds me of an idea from the book Big Magic, and it's this idea that ideas are living things. You know, they visit us, and if we don't act on them, they will move on. In 2026, you are kind of respecting that. Like, instead of asking, does this make sense? You're saying, like, I'll figure that out later, but right now I need to create. You're also standing up for yourself more and worrying less about how you're perceived. Paired with flow with what is, it's like you're releasing control from other people. If someone ghosts you, you let them. If something doesn't work out, you don't force it. You stop chasing clarity from people who aren't offering it freely. Overall, Pal 2, this year feels kind of spicy. It feels very fiery. It feels inspired, productive, very purpose-driven. The spark is alive and well here, and this time it's like you're not dimming it for anyone. So if that's resonating for you so far, let's move on to your 2026 and let's move on to talking about your first blessing, Pal 2. Okay, so let's have a look at your first blessing. I'm just going to move your sticker over here. We have got the Ace of Swords, because of course we do. We have got the Lovers. Oh my god, very cool. And we have got the Four of Wands in reverse. Interesting. Alright, Pal 2, let's talk about this first blessing, because this blessing is big, and honestly it feels like a turning point. You know, we've got the Ace of Swords, the Lovers, and the Four of Wands in reverse. And the first thing I heard when I pulled these cards was, you're getting your brain back. So for those of you who have felt like your mind has been a bit mushy lately, like with brain fog, confusion, indecision, struggling to make sense of things, this blessing brings like razor sharp clarity. The Ace of Swords cuts straight through the fog. It brings into focus what needs to be brought into focus. And once that happens, everything starts to make sense again. And paired with the Lovers, this clarity doesn't exist on its own. It leads you into greater alignment. What I'm seeing is you getting fresh ideas, downloads, or realizations that feel really, really magnetic. It's like one idea sort of lights up in your mind, almost like it's glowing with this halo around it, and everything in you, in your soul, is telling you, choose this one, like this one matters. It just makes sense. Now, this is where the Four of Wands comes in, and I'm not going to lie to you, this part can feel a little bit confronting at first, because part of this blessing is you reassessing what home and stability and alignment actually mean to you. There's a very strong message here that I keep getting, and that's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And initially that can feel a little bit destabilizing, especially if you've been going through the motions for a while, or if you've been telling yourself things are fine, if you've been trying to convince yourself that what you have should make you happy. This blessing doesn't allow you to stay in any kind of delusion, and that can be jarring. It can, but I want to be really clear, you already knew something was off. The difference now is that you're no longer doubting yourself. You're not foggy about this anymore. You're not questioning your own perception. You're not second guessing your intuition. Everything that was hidden comes into light, and once it does, the ideas start flowing, and they start flowing fast. They start flowing relentlessly. You can't turn it off, essentially. If any of the following things resonate, that's an extra sign this message is very much for you. If you felt like something was off in a particular situation for a long time but you couldn't put your finger on it, if you hit a milestone but the joy, it never actually landed in your body, if things looked okay on the surface but they didn't really feel like a true celebration, if harmony felt disrupted but you couldn't quite prove why, if you wondered whether you were imagining things or overthinking, this year the tangible proof arrives. And yeah, the clarity can hit suddenly. It can feel like it kind of knocks the wind out of us for a moment, but it very, very quickly turns into relief, because suddenly you're like, oh, I knew something was up with this, like I see it now, or like, oh, I know what to do. And I keep seeing this image of someone walking through a really dense forest, unable to see the path because the trees and the bushes are too thick, and it's like their sword was too blunt before to cut anything down, but now it's sharp and they start cutting through everything effortlessly, and suddenly the path in front of them is so obvious. That's what this is. It's not that the truth wasn't there before, it's that you didn't have the right tools or the right words or the right mental clarity to articulate it, and now you do. So this is a mental awakening. It's that third eye moment. It's a realization that you can't look away from. And for some of you, this may even be a divine download, something your guides have been trying to get through to you for a while, but before it felt blurry, it felt hard to trust or hard to name, and now you know, you just feel it in your body. You're like, I know, and I know what to do with this. And this ties really, really beautifully to your oracle messages, you know, seeing things for what they are, not what you wish them to be, and not forcing something to fit just because maybe it once did. Truth in this blessing is both the blade and the key. It cuts, but it also unlocks something deep within you. And I really want to emphasize something here. This is not a blessing that leaves you feeling trapped. It's not like, oh no, I realize I don't want this and now I'm stuck, like I don't want this truth. It's the opposite. It's, I see the truth and I see a way forward. I see another option. I see the life I'm meant to build. It's empowering. Whether that's realizing you're meant to create, to speak, to choose differently, to redefine what success or commitment looks like, this clarity empowers you, it aligns you, and it sets the tone for every other blessing that follows. And I'm going to try and give a tangible example here of how this blessing might show up, because this isn't always some like huge dramatic event, but for some of you this could be, for example, friendship related. Let's say in 2025 you were spending time with someone and afterwards you'd feel just drained and foggy or just off, and you'd get these little nudges like, you know what, me and this person just don't really feel aligned anymore. I'm getting something about shower thoughts. For some of you this could have come through as shower thoughts, but it's those moments of clarity when your guard is down and your intuition gets a word in, but then maybe you talk yourself out of it. You'd be like, oh, maybe it's just me, like maybe the vibes are off with me, maybe I'm having a bad day, you know, sometimes we vibe absolutely fine, so maybe it's just a thing with me. And for a while you just couldn't quite articulate what was wrong in this friendship. You just knew something wasn't sitting right. The Ace of Swords moment is you finally seeing that situation for what it is. There's a defining moment of truth where things click, and with that clarity you also know how to proceed. And I want to be clear here, this is not about like cutting people off every time you feel tired or every time you have like a minor disagreement. You know, sometimes it is us, and I will use myself as an example here. Like, I am neurodivergent and I also have an energy limiting disability. And I love my friends, I love socialising with my friends, but my social battery can just suddenly drop off the face of the earth even when I'm having the best time. And when that happens, I know the difference between me being drained because of my own body and its limitations versus someone continually draining me. Like with the right people, I can say like, oh, can we just chill today? And I can feel safe being quiet or unmasking, and we're still good, even if the vibes aren't like super energetic that day. But when someone drains you because the conversation isn't reciprocal, or you feel like you always have to perform or mask, or you just don't feel safe being honest, or you constantly feel like judged or criticized or misunderstood, or your values just no longer align, that's very different. And this blessing is about you recognizing that difference without gaslighting yourself. And sometimes, there's no big fallout, there's no hatred, it's just like a slow misalignment. And yeah, like friendship breakups, if we use that example, that can be harder sometimes than romantic breakups, because often there's so much history and there's no like official big ending. But with this situation, I'm not saying it has to be that example, but this clarity doesn't punish you, it's choosing you essentially, because creating space, whether that's distance or boundaries or letting something naturally fade, it's like you are putting yourself back on the path towards people and situations that actually replenish you. That's the alignment this blessing is guiding you towards. And I also want to say this because I don't want it to come across as like, oh, you just have to see this as a blessing. Like, things like this are hard, there's no denying that, and you don't have to pretend otherwise. But the reason this is showing up in your blessings reading, it's not because it's painless, but it's because of what it leads you to. This clarity doesn't come to punish you, it comes to replace a lie with the truth. And once that truth is in place, you are able to move forward towards something that actually fits you, something that feels so much more like it's for you. That's why it's a blessing. And yeah, the lovers is huge. This is a defining choice. It's a defining shift. Something that genuinely changes the course of your life for the better. But it often begins with that slightly uncomfortable moment of truth and that Four of Wands moment where you realise, like, this isn't actually home for me anymore. But what you lose here is not truly a loss. It's like something better is destined to take its place. And for some of you, if this has already happened, whether this is a breakup or leaving a job or a friendship ending or drifting, this is showing you that very soon you're going to understand why it had to happen. You will see it much more clearly. So maybe it's meeting someone new, landing a job that just aligns perfectly, finding your people, like your soul fam, or stepping onto a path that feels finally really right for you. You're going to know why this had to happen. It was fated, why you had to flow with it, why it happened the way it did, and why this truth, as hard as it might have been at first, was actually the very making of you. So this feels like a really good point to move on to your second blessing, pal two, because I'm really curious about what's in store for you next. So I'm just going to move your cards to one side so we can look at the next few. So we have got the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the Four of Pentacles reversed. And we've got the Six of Wands reversed. Okay, pal two, I genuinely don't even have the words to describe how fucking incredible this blessing is for you. I'm sorry that I swore. As soon as I saw the 10 of Pentacles, I knew this was big energy, legacy energy, life-changing energy, and I don't want you to get scared seeing these reversals because I know exactly what this is, and it ties directly into what you've been healing and what you're about to prove to yourself by doing what you're about to do. So this blessing, it's about you redefining success on your own terms, and not just success. You're creating a new legacy, one that is completely removed from essentially every old narrative you've carried about yourself and your worth and what you're capable of. The 10 of Pentacles here is not just small wins. This is something monumental. This is something that lasts, something sustainable, something that grows, something that can actually support you long term. And what's really interesting is the way the Six of Wands reversed and the Four of Pentacles reversed are actually working together, because this blessing is about finding that sweet spot when it comes to visibility. It's healing fears of being seen without being dependent on external praise or validation. And honestly, that is the happiest and healthiest middle ground that you can reach. We talk a lot in healing spaces about like not relying on external validation, and that is important, learning to self-regulate, learning to be proud of yourself without outsourcing your worth. But the truth is, humans, we are social creatures. Even if we are introverted, we are social creatures still. We long to be seen, truly, to be understood, to connect. And that doesn't make you egotistical, it makes you human. And sometimes when that desire for connection feels risky, we shut ourselves down, we hold back, we convince ourselves that we're like above needing recognition. And that's when we tell ourselves, you know, I don't need to post my work, I don't need anyone to see this, I'm doing this just for me. And sometimes that's true, and that's fair enough. But sometimes that is fear talking. It's fear of being vulnerable, fear of being criticised, fear of putting something out there and it not quite landing in the way you hoped, so taking yourself out of the equation entirely. And for some of you, that's kind of turned into you like hoarding your own gifts. And I'm going to be really direct with you here, pal too, because the cards are being direct. You are insanely talented. Like, you have a gift that you are meant to share. You are meant to do something with what you've been given, whether that's creative, expressive, educational, spiritual, activist, artistic, whatever it is. It wasn't given to you just so you could keep it locked away. But that Six of Wands reversed, it's that imposter syndrome. It's sometimes like the fear of being seen. It's worrying that you're not qualified enough or good enough or ready enough. And this blessing is about you healing that, because what you carry with the Ten of Pentacles, that's your legacy. That's the thing that can grow. That's the thing that can create abundance, stability, and overflow. And when I say abundance, I mean abundance. Yes, it can be money. This could absolutely be financial success, a windfall, income from what you do, profound wealth. But abundance is also people wanting your work, you being highly in demand, people valuing your voice, you being like booked and busy, love and appreciation flowing towards you. Yeah, demand for your skills or services, and opportunities opening because you finally allowed yourself to be seen. The Four of Pentacles reversed, it's telling me that you're finally loosening the grip. You're realizing, like, I don't have to keep all of this to myself. I can be safe and visible at the same time. So you're going to be seen more as part of this blessing, and you're going to be complimented more and supported more. But the difference is you're not doing it for the praise. You're doing it because you want to, because something in your soul is calling you forwards, telling you you need to do this because it feels authentic. The praise and the recognition and the success, that becomes a byproduct, but it's not the goal here. I'm going to use myself as an example here because I think it illustrates this perfectly. It doesn't have to be this example for you, but I wanted to make tarot content for years, but being on camera, I was like, absolutely not. That's terrifying. That's off limits. So I didn't do it until I realized I don't have to show my face if I don't want to. I found a compromise that honoured my boundaries and my calling. So that's why I decided to just use my hands, just use my voice. And I thought to myself, you know, I'll try it once, I'll probably hate it, everybody else will probably hate it, I'll get scared and I'll just delete it, and no harm done because I've not shown my face. But what I found was the opposite happened, and you know, each step I built more and more confidence. Like, each video proved to me I could do something I never thought was possible before, and now I'm more open than I ever thought I'd be. And that's the energy here for you. Like, it's like you find your own way, your own version, your own entry point, and once you do it, it opens doors you didn't even know were available. This blessing is you no longer asking, like, would this look good on paper? What would get me the most approval? What would other people want from me? And instead asking, what do I want to do? What feels true to me? What am I being called towards? And because of that, because it's real, it works and it grows and it sustains you, and it essentially like sets you up for life. So this is huge, pal too. This is you stepping into visibility without losing yourself. It's sharing your gifts without selling your soul, and it's building something that can carry you forwards for years to come. And it all starts with you saying yes to being seen, just doing it on your terms in a way that works for you. So with that said, let's move on to your third blessing, pile two. I can't wait to see what comes through for you. Let's just move your cards to one side. So we have got the Two of Wands reversed. We've got the Empress. Love that for you, pal two. And we have got the Queen of Wands. That's so cool. Okay, let's talk about your third blessing, because the phrase that I keep hearing for you is life is a playground. I keep hearing that. I don't know what it means. Well, I guess I do, like, because honestly that is the vibe. This blessing is about you having so much more fun, not taking life so seriously anymore, and not feeling like every decision you make is life or death. At this point, you fully trust that the universe shows up for you. With the Two of Wands reversed, you are no longer stuck in a waiting room. You're no longer stuck in hesitation mode. You're not standing there trying to account for every possible outcome before you make a move. You have dropped that energy of like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And instead, you've got this mentality of, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And that is a blessing for you because you're finally acting on instinct instead of talking yourself out of things that you want to do. There's something strongly coming through about you being very adaptable in this upcoming season of your life. And I don't know why, but I keep thinking of that scene in Mean Girls where Regina finds her top with holes cut in it and she like pauses, she looks confused for a moment and then she just throws it on anyway. And she's like, you know what, like, I'll make this work. And that's your energy. You'll walk around with holes in your shirt, metaphorically, and you'll look good doing it. You make it work. You don't spiral, you don't freeze. You adapt, you move, you own it. And suddenly people are like, oh wait, that actually looks good. You set the tone and you set the trend just by trusting yourself and trusting that you can make it work. There's something really, really strongly coming through about playfulness. And I keep getting like a video game imagery for some reason, especially cozy games. You know, in cozy games, the stakes aren't very high. If you overfish the river in your village, you're not actually sat there panicking like, oh my god, my villagers are gonna starve. You're like, okay, it's cool, I'll go and smash some rocks on the other side of the village and then the fish will respawn. It's fine, we're gonna be fine, like it's a game. And I'm not saying life is a game, but energetically that's kind of how you're approaching things, like in terms of taking things less seriously. You know, if the swings are taken, you're like, fine, I'll go down the slide instead. The swings will open up when they're meant to. You're not waiting around watching somebody else to make sure they get off the swing. You're not forcing it, you're not spiraling. You just know that you will get what you need when you need it. And it's really, really interesting that you picked the Santa sticker, pal, too, because I was thinking about this all throughout your reading, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were the kid who like always tried to work out the logistics of everything. So for example, when the other kids just accepted that, yeah, Santa comes every Christmas and there's presents under the tree, you were asking your parents like, okay, but how does he go to that many houses? Like, how did he fit down our chimney? It's really narrow. Like, all of this stuff. And I think this year, this is about you stepping into an era where like you're no longer obsessing over the logistics of how Santa got down the effing chimney. You're like, the point is the presents are under the tree. Like, and that's the thing for you, you have the gifts and you know the rest will work itself out. The point is the gifts are there, you have them, you can work the rest out later. It's about like trusting the process, which I know everybody hates that phrase, but it really is. With that Empress, you are deeply receptive now. You understand that there's always going to be fertile ground available to you because this gift is intrinsic. It lives inside of you. You don't have to like hold it so tightly. You just allow it to be. And with that Queen of Wands, this turns into confidence, not fake confidence, not like a fake it till you make it kind of vibe. This is very much, I said what I damn well said. Like, you are glowing, you're vibrant, you're magnetic. And I also want to talk about the physical glow up here because with the Queen of Wands, this isn't just internal, I think it actually shows on the surface. So there could be something different about you in 2026 where people are going to be like, what are you doing differently? You know, you just look warmer, brighter, more confident in your body. It's like you carry yourself differently. It's in your posture, it's in your eye contact, in the way you speak. You're not shrinking yourself anymore or second guessing how you're coming across. Some of you during this time might actually experiment more with your style, your hair, your makeup, or how you present yourself generally. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, you're not, but because you're just kind of having fun with it. You're dressing for you and that confidence radiates outwards. This is the kind of glow up that comes from feeling like safe in your own skin. It's where your energy leads and your appearance naturally follows. You don't look try hard, you look comfortable. And that's what makes you magnetic. It also feels like you're going to be like making people laugh a lot more, like people are going to be just really divinely guided to you, like seeing you as the light. You're going to look like you've got everything under control without actually controlling anything or holding on too tightly, and you're not going to be sweating the small stuff, I think is the thing. You're not trying to plan every eventuality. You're doing things because you're just divinely called to, and if something doesn't happen the way you planned, you're just kind of like, oh well, and you're on to the next thing. And people are really, really drawn to you because of this. you know, your warmth, your passion, your enthusiasm, and your ease. It makes you very, very fun to be around. It's like you're the light in the room and you carry this personal power that no one can take from you. You're also deeply trusting your guides and spirit team during this time. There's this quiet knowing that what is meant for you will come in divine timing and it doesn't need to be forced. And yeah, because of that, you're really, really magnetic to opportunities, and you're probably going to be getting more offers, more invitations, more opportunity for connection, more people wanting to hear from you, date you, collaborate with you, be around you. And you're not begging for your message to be received anymore. You know, the message simply is, people can take it or leave it. You're like, I said what I said and I'm not afraid of that anymore. This blessing is you no longer being afraid to go after what you want. You trust yourself, you trust your life, and you are finally letting yourself enjoy the ride. So I feel like that is a great place to finish your reading, pal two. We are going to finish your reading by looking at some tea leaf cards which we have pulled for you. So let's have a look at what we got. Okay, so we have got older man, dealings or relationship with an older man. We've got tulip, great passion. We've got gavel, involvement with the law. And we've got parrot, someone will gossip about all your secrets, okay? So first, let's talk about this older man card, because this can mean a few different things. It's not always literal. For some of you, yes, there may be an older man who is significant in this story. It could be a new person that you are meeting. It doesn't have to be that they are significantly older than you, but this could be a love interest, but it could also be a father, a grandfather, an older brother, a boss, a colleague, a mentor, or just someone more experienced than you who is going to play an important role in your life this year. For others, this could be like a teacher or a guide or someone you're learning a great deal from, especially since we spoke earlier about guidance and wisdom from the spirit realm showing up for you. You know, for some of you, it could relate to a spiritual guide or passed on loved one, particularly an older masculine presence, where you're very, very aware this upcoming year that this person is around you, supporting you, nudging you, and helping guide your decisions. And for others, you know, this older man energy may not even be a external person. It can be a sort of very Saturn-coded voice, a kind of paternal energy that has lived in your head for a long time. It's your sort of strict inner authority, maybe. The part of you that says like, oh, you need to be sensible, don't do that, don't risk it, don't embarrass yourself. And part of this year is you loosening the grip that that voice has had on you. I feel like that's a big part of your year, pal too. Because when we bring in this tulip, great passion, this is you opening up fully and boldly and unapologetically, like a tulip in full bloom. And honestly, it looks incredible on you. Like, this is true alignment. This is you throwing yourself into what you love, not because anyone told you to do it, not because it looks good on paper, but because that's where your passion actually lives. And this ties directly back to what we said earlier, like the spark has been lit and it cannot be unlit. You are ignited. You are throwing yourself wholeheartedly into this journey. You're rediscovering what you love and you're doing things because you want to do them, because they matter to you, because they feel alive in your body. So you're less afraid to say things, less afraid to be seen, more adaptable, more confident, and deeply, deeply aware that the path you're on is fated for you. Now let's talk about that gavel, involvement with the law, because I don't see this as literal for most of you. This feels symbolic. This feels like you previously treated certain choices as though they'd have huge catastrophic consequences. Like, what if I do this and everything falls apart? And now it's like you're stepping out of that mindset. I'm literally hearing someone say, you know, what are they going to do? Throw me in jail? And that's the energy shift. You're realizing that it really isn't that deep. Not everything is that serious. You're not going to jail for expressing yourself. You're not committing some unforgivable crime by following your passion. Nothing catastrophic is going to happen just because you chose yourself. This ties back to that like playful, cozy game energy we talked about earlier. You know, the villagers are going to eat, the fish are going to respawn. You don't need to panic. You're no longer sweating the small shit. And finally, we have the parrot gossip. Yes, some people may talk. Some people may gossip, especially people who benefited from you staying small, quiet, or stagnant. Some people might say, oh, pal two has changed, or oh, they think they're all that now. But here's the thing, you don't think you are. You know you are. And you're not going to care that they're saying that, because parrots don't just gossip, they imitate. You know, they repeat what they see and hear. This is very much that first they hate and then they imitate energy. The same people who criticize you now may very well be copying you later, or asking you for advice, or trying to do what you're doing once they see how well it works for you. And you're not bothered, you're not watching, you're not checking, You're not shrinking to keep anyone else comfortable. You know you're in alignment, you know you're on the right path, and that is enough. And this whole tea leaf spread really just confirms it. Like, passion is ignited, guidance is present, fear is dissolving, and outside noise just no longer holds power over you. You're doing it your way, and it's working. Alright, Palty, that is what I'm getting for you, and that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. And if we don't speak again before we step into 2026, I just want to say thank you to every single one of you who has supported this channel over the past almost 2 years now, watching my readings, liking the videos, commenting, hyping me up, sharing, subscribing. I would not still be here doing this if it wasn't for you. I really, really wouldn't. Like, your kindness, your encouragement, and your support means more to me than I could ever properly put into words. So if this reading resonated for you, the absolute best ways to support the channel are to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype if you're feeling like you want to do that. It really does make a difference, and it helps these readings reach the people who need them. That being said, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know what resonated. Let me know what you're most excited about as we move into 2026. Let us all hype each other up, gas each other up, and share some love in the comments, because this pile, you're stepping into something big and it deserves to be celebrated. So thank you again for being here, for being you, and for allowing me to be part of your journey. I hope you have a beautiful holiday season, a very peaceful end to the year, and the most aligned, passion-filled start to 2026. Take care of yourselves, my loves. I'm sending you so much love. I'll see you in the next one, pal too. Hi Pal 3 Collective. If you chose the Pacific Northwest Tarot and you chose the Snowman sticker and you chose Pal 3, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. If you would like full details on what to expect from today's reading, please check out my introduction. I do go through absolutely everything there. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But first of all, happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're taking care of yourselves as we move through this transition. This reading is titled, What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? Alignment and Blessings Entering 2026. This reading is for those of you who are just done carrying old energy and you're ready to step into 2026 clearer, lighter, and more aligned, because things are shifting in your favour now. And if that resonates, if you want to claim that, you can take that as confirmation that you are exactly where you are meant to be. So without hesitation, let's get started and let's take a look at the first few oracle cards we pulled for you. Those represent the overarching energy of your year ahead, and as mentioned in the intro, you can use this portion of the reading as an energy check before we move deeper into your blessings. So starting over here from the Wise Witch Oracle, we have Eclipse. Dance with your shadows. Discover hidden aspects of yourself in the darkness. From the Hecate Oracle, we have got Queen of Witches, own your power. That's very cool. From the Modern Witch Spiritual deck, we have Energy. And from the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle, we have got number 37, Grey, endings are inevitable. So let's start off by doing some confirmations. As always, I like to start by mentioning the numbers, just in case these act as extra confirmations for you guys. These don't have to apply for this to be your pile, but we have the number 37, and the individual numbers 3, 7, and 10 may also be relevant. These could relate to a birthday, an age, a date, a life path, an angel number or synchronicity you've been seeing a lot of, or even an astrological house or the sign associated with that house. Some of you could be 37 years old, some of you may have been born on the 3rd, 7th or 10th of a month. March, July or October babies could be relevant here. If we're looking at astrological houses, Gemini, Libra or Capricorn placements may be significant. But I'm also getting very strong water sign energy from this pile, Cancer in particular, and there's something very significant coming through about the Cancer Capricorn axis specifically, especially like themes of emotional security versus responsibility, softness versus structure, things like that. I'm getting those kinds of vibes. But right off the bat, in terms of some other random confirmations, you could be someone who is deeply affected by the moon, and eclipses in particular could feel very significant to you. I'd actually encourage you guys to reflect on what was happening in your life around recent eclipses, not necessarily to like predict anything, but more as a reflective exercise. Like, oh, that's what was happening around then. Because for you guys, eclipses may mark like intense emotional shifts, endings, or just moments where something hidden comes into the light. I'm also hearing something about a blood moon specifically. Some of you guys could physically carry very lunar features. I'm thinking rounded facial structures, soft curves, large expressive eyes, plush lips. You could identify with having, I know sometimes people call it like a moon face, or like a baby face, I think is a nicer way of describing it. But the moon is absolutely beautiful, so there's nothing wrong with having a moon face if that is you. Cancer rising energy feels very strong here. Something about being warm or nurturing, intuitive, but also a little bit guarded, or also sometimes looking a little bit moody. Some of you may look younger than your age, or you have just like a softness to you that people are naturally drawn to. I'm seeing hair messages too. Some of you are currently growing your hair out, you're investing in hair care, or you're considering a style change. I'm getting something about curtain bangs. There's also something about the colour green being very, I'm hearing the word auspicious. Auspicious, is that the right word? What does that mean? Does it mean lucky? I think it means lucky. Yeah, so you may feel luckier or more confident or more grounded when you wear green. It could be a very favourable colour for you energetically. I'm also seeing ballet flats. Somebody buying a new pair of ballet flats. Maybe you wear ballet flats a lot. I'm seeing a pier or a waterfront. Somebody lives by a pier. Somebody likes to watch the sunrise or the sunset. There's something about space and astronomy coming through. I'm also getting like scientific fields, biology, physics. Some of you may have studied science, or you are deeply curious about how things work, especially the unseen or emotional layers of life. Something about psychology. Some of you could be psychology majors or therapists. I'm hearing Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, so that could be relevant, or maybe the names Bonnie or Tyler separately. With the Queen of Witches card, someone here, I think we mentioned this in Pal 2 as well, but it's a confirmation coming through for Pal 3. Someone here could be absolutely getting back into their witchy shit right now, like spell work, rituals, affirmations, shadow work. Oh my god, shadow work is coming through. Deity worship, or like reconnecting with spiritual practices that once made you feel powerful. With grey, really random message, some of you could have recently noticed your first grey hair, or you've chosen to let your hair go naturally grey. If you are at an age where that could happen. For some reason, I'm also thinking of the phrase millennial grey, and honestly, that feels kind of symbolic. It's like everything has been muted or neutral or emotionally flat, and you're done with that. Like, that's the big energy I'm getting for you guys, Pal 3. We're going to talk about that. By the way, no hate to millennials. I am a millennial myself, but can we just be done with millennial grey? I say that whilst wearing the most like beige, grey, neutral shirt ever. Yeah. But yeah, that grey message, that brings me onto a huge main theme of your year, Pal 3, because a big blessing and a theme for you in 2026 is essentially like the colour return into your life. This feels like a deep internal shift that gradually becomes visible on the outside, because we have that eclipse card, you know, dance with your shadows, and then Queen of Witches, own your power, we have energy, and we have like grey, endings are inevitable. It's like right away I want to talk about this idea of the grey, because it feels like this has been sitting in your aura for quite a while. And for many of you, it's not that your energy has been dark, but it has been muted or desaturated. It's like the colour has been turned down a notch. Life hasn't necessarily been bad, but it has maybe felt a little bit flat, a bit meh, a bit nondescript. Like you've been going through the motions rather than fully inhabiting your life. And what I keep seeing for you in 2026 is your aura shifting from like grey or muted back into full colour, slowly at first, gently, and then unmistakably. And you know, the snowman sticker you chose, that feels incredibly symbolic here too. When you hold snow in your hands for too long, your fingers go numb. And it feels like for you guys, you've almost been living in this icy state, you know, sometimes emotionally numb or detached or disconnected from your own excitement. And it's not because you're ungrateful. It's not because you don't have good things going on in your life, but it's because something was maybe weighing on you. And that's where endings are inevitable comes in. For many of you, there was something that had to finish, an obligation, a chapter, a role you'd outgrown, or just something unresolved. It's like this had to be over and done with before you could truly move forward. You know, it can be very hard to feel excited about the future when you know that deep down something still needs to be closed. I keep thinking about this particular scene from the show Pluribus. Don't worry, I won't give any spoilers if you guys haven't seen it and you want to. This doesn't really spoil anything, but it's this scene where the main character, Carol, and her partner go to see the Northern Lights, and they go to this ice hotel, and Carol's partner, I can't remember her name, I think it's Helen? She's like completely present, she's overwhelmed by the beauty, she's fully in awe, and Carol isn't. Carol is just like focusing on how cold the ice bed is, like she's complaining about it. And she's not wrong, like the ice is cold, but the point is she's a character who can't let herself be like swept up in the magic of the moment. And it's easy to judge her as a character and think like, how can you not appreciate this? Like you're in the most beautiful place ever. But I actually think that's deeply human. Sometimes we're standing right in front of something beautiful, whether it's a good life or a stable job or a loving relationship, and yet we still feel this sense of restlessness or numbness or disconnect, not because we are ungrateful, but because something inside us just hasn't been resolved yet. We're like yearning for something. And for you, that unresolved thing has been acting like a sort of grey curtain between you and your joy, and it's like now that curtain is lifting. This year the sun rises again, and this time when you look at it, you feel it. That's the thing, pal 3. You don't just say like, oh yeah, that's pretty. Oh, the sun looks nice today. It actually lands in your body, it reaches your chest. You remember what wonder feels like. A huge part of the shift is your energy returning. And I don't just mean like energy and motivation in a vague sense. I mean something very practical and physical. Like it becomes easier to get out of bed in the morning. You don't feel the same heaviness or dread. If you have kind of struggled with lying there scrolling on your phone, feeling exhausted before the day has even started, that begins to change. You wake up and you actually want to get up, not because you have to, but because there's something to move towards. You might feel drawn to movement more this upcoming year, whether it's walking or stretching or dancing or exercising. And I want to be really clear, this isn't about chasing a certain body or aesthetic. This isn't just about like getting snatched or, punishing yourself into a routine. This is essentially like preparation energy. You're preparing for something. It's your body saying, I need to be strong, I need to be good for what's coming. Almost like your body knows you're about to step into your power before your mind fully catches up. So this is about you building stamina, grounding yourself, building strength, because you're preparing to stand in your authority. You're preparing to move with purpose and say yes to things that you couldn't say yes to before. It feels reverent, it feels intentional. It feels like your body coming back online. That's something I'm getting. And this ties directly into the Queen of Witches card, Own Your Power. There is something unlocking within you, pal 3. Definitely something unlocking within you this year. This could be a hidden talent, a dormant gift, a sense of influence and capability that you may have forgotten that you even had access to. And shadow work plays a big role here. Parts of yourself you've avoided, underestimated, or suppressed are being like integrated now. And this is where the missing piece comes in. And what's important is the missing piece. It doesn't feel just like something external. It's not, oh, once I get this job or this relationship, I'll finally feel whole. It's more like you realizing, oh, this was inside me the whole time. Something clicks, something lifts, a weight comes off your shoulders. Suddenly things make sense in a way they didn't before. And with that, you feel much more capable, you feel more influential, more alive and more powerful. Your aura lights up, it brightens, colour returns. People feel and experience you differently, and you feel yourself differently. There's purpose again, there's momentum, there's a sense that you're moving towards something really meaningful. And it isn't a quick like dopamine hit, this isn't fleeting excitement, this is sustained vitality, curiosity, and this genuine desire to live your life with intention again. It's newness and it's novelty, but it's in like a way that can go the distance. New people, new places, new experiences, not chaotic, but aligned. Pile 3, 2026 feels like the year something lifts, something clicks, and you finally feel ready. You feel it in your body, you feel it in your spirit, and in your sense of self. You're ready for what comes next. It's like you stop surviving and you start living with purpose again. You have a lot more get up and go about you, and it's just really cool. And I feel like this is a really good place to move on to your first blessing and look at your tarot cards, so we can get a deeper read on this energy. So I'm going to move your oracle cards to one side and let's look at your first few tarot cards. Okay, pile 3, let's move your snowman here. And we have got the 4 of Swords in reverse. We've got the 7 of Pentacles. And we've got the Hanged one. Pile 3. Your first blessing feels quiet but profound. This isn't a loud, explosive change. It's a shift in how you inhabit your own life, is what I want to say. With the Four of Swords reverse, the first thing I'm getting is that you're coming out of a long period of internal stagnation. It is a long period of rest, but when I say rest, I don't mean it in the much needed, nourishing sense. I mean the kind of stuck pause where your body is tired but your mind never truly switches off, where you've been lying down but not actually restoring. And for some of you, this has looked like burnout, overwhelm, or feeling mentally foggy, whilst also being kind of emotionally restless. You might have felt like you just couldn't fully relax, but you also couldn't really move forward either. You were just sort of suspended. And now this blessing is something shifting. This blessing is you re-entering life. And it's slowly at first, but it's very, very deliberate. It's very conscious. With the Seven of Pentacles, this year gives you the gift of patience with your own process. It's like you're no longer berating yourself for not being further along or for not having everything figured out yet. Instead, you start to see how much you've already done, how much effort you've already poured into your life, your healing, your growth. And it's that moment where you step back and realize, wait, this is actually working. You know, even if the results haven't fully materialized yet, you can feel that what you've planted is taking root. And that awareness alone is incredibly stabilizing for you. You know, we have this Hanged Man, and this feels really important for Pile 3. Your blessing is a shift in perspective, but it's not in a forced or dramatic way. It's more like, you know, life slowing down just enough that you finally see things differently. You stop fighting the pause, you stop seeing delays or liminal periods as failures. Instead, you understand that this waiting period has been purposeful. Some of you may have been in a space where it felt like very little was moving, but behind the scenes, it's like everything was rearranging itself. You know, your priorities, your values, your sense of self, your relationship with time and with productivity. This blessing is you realizing that you were never stuck, you were recalibrated. And when that realization lands, it changes absolutely everything. You stop rushing yourself, you stop forcing clarity before it's ready, you stop panicking about what hasn't happened yet. You become willing to sit with uncertainty. And paradoxically too, that's when things begin to actually move again. There's also something really important here about trusting the timing of your life. You begin to see that what's meant for you isn't late and it isn't being withheld. It's unfolding at exactly the pace that allows you to step into it without losing yourself in the process. This blessing brings you a kind of peace that doesn't come from having all the answers, but from being okay with not having them yet. And that's absolutely huge for you, because once you release the pressure to figure everything out right now, your energy actually frees up, your nervous system settles, your creativity starts to flow again, and your body begins to thaw in a way. This first blessing is the foundation for everything else that follows. It's the moment you stop seeing your pause as a punishment and you start recognizing it as essential preparation. And there's one more layer of this that I really do want to talk about, because on the Pacific Northwest Tarot, the Hanged One doesn't look like the traditional figure. It looks like a lava, like something suspended mid-transformation. And that feels incredibly important for you, Pile 3, because, you know, you're not stuck, you're not failing, you're not behind, you are becoming. And this card is such a powerful reminder that not everything is meant to be rushed into its final form. This is the very definition of good things take time, you know. Some things have to gestate in the darkness first. Some things have to dissolve before they can re-emerge as something new entirely. And I think for a lot of you, that's exactly what this past phase has felt like. It's being in this in-between state where you knew something was changing inside you, but you didn't yet have the language for it. You didn't yet have the full picture or the clarity. You didn't yet know what it was all leading towards. And that's where the restlessness came from. It's that low-level agitation, that feeling of something needs to change, but I don't really know what. You know, that sense of being on the edge of something but not being able to name it yet. And this wasn't impatience, it was unintegrated knowing. Your system knew a shift was coming before your conscious mind could catch up, but it led to this sort of restlessness. And that's also where the shadow work comes in, because shadow work isn't always about confronting something dramatic or painful. Sometimes it's about sitting with the parts of yourself that don't yet make sense, the parts that feel undefined, the parts that feel at times contradictory, and the parts that haven't fully revealed their purpose yet. This blessing is you beginning to come back online. not all at once, but very steadily. It's like a code starting to unlock. You start to understand why you have felt restless, why stillness has felt uncomfortable, why you couldn't fully settle, but you also couldn't quite move forward. It's because you weren't meant to move yet, you were mid-metamorphosis. And now, instead of fighting that phase, you begin to honour it. You stop demanding answers before they're ready. You stop pushing yourself to just like figure it out prematurely. You realise that forcing the process would have damaged the transformation. So this blessing, it teaches you patience, but it's not like passive patience. This is embodied patience. It's the kind that trusts your own timing. It's the kind that knows when to wait and when movement will naturally arise. And that's when this restlessness softens, because now it has more context. Now you understand, like, oh, this is why I felt that way. It's this realization that you weren't necessarily bored with life, you weren't disconnected, you weren't broken, you were just incubating something powerful. And this first blessing is the moment you stop mistaking that incubation period for stagnation and you start recognizing it as preparation for emergence. You're not meant to rush this path 3. What's coming next needs you fully formed. And I also want to point out something really, really sweet on your 7 of Pentacles card. There are bees all over it, and I love that for you, pal 3, because bees are not frantic, they're not rushing, they're not chaotic, they are incredibly purposeful. Like, a bee understands timing, it knows when to gather, when to rest, when to pollinate, when the season is right. And that's the energy you're stepping into with this blessing. You're getting ready to be like this busy bee, but it's not in a burnout way, it's not in like a grind yourself into the ground sort of way. This is a meaningful productivity, it's purposeful movement, it's doing things that actually feed you and contribute to something bigger. Up until now, it might have felt like you had all this potential energy with nowhere to put it. And at the same time, you were exhausted. It's such a contradiction. Like, you wanted to move, you wanted to create, you wanted to build, but you didn't know where your effort should go, and then it would burn out. And that's frustrating energy to sit with, but this blessing shows you your efforts were never wasted. They were laying the groundwork. You were learning where to land, what to tend to, and what's worth your energy. And it's like now you're about to start buzzing, not because you're being chased, not because you're under pressure or anything like that, but it's like because the flowers are finally blooming, and when that timing clicks, you're going to move naturally and instinctively, and you're going to know exactly where your energy belongs. So this feels like a really nice place to move on to your second blessing, pile 3. So let's have a look at what we've got for you. Just going to move these cards to one side. So we have got the 6 of Cups. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, makes sense. And we've got the 9 of Cups reversed. This second blessing for you, pal 3, feels incredibly emotional in the best possible way. It feels like a moment of coming home to yourself. And what's really important to say right away is this blessing doesn't come out of nowhere, right? This is not random, it's not luck. This is the result of the shadow work you've already done, especially the emotional and inner child work that may have not been particularly visible to anyone else before this, because with the 6 of Cups upright, there's a strong theme of returning to the past in order to heal it. It's like closure. This could be literal for some of you too, like a conversation with someone from your past that brings closure, reconnecting with an old friend, revisiting a childhood home, or stumbling across an item, an old photo, a journal, a memory, something that unlocks something inside you. And for others, this is deeply, deeply internal. It's you reconnecting with a version of yourself that existed before life got heavy, before you had to armor up, before you learned how to numb or survive. I'm getting the sense like something small but meaningful sparks this, like finding old drawings your parents kept and then remembering that you used to love to draw. You saying to yourself like, oh, I used to love this, I used to love drawing, I used to do it every day. And that moment brings emotion with it, kind of a nostalgic feeling. It's not sadness exactly, it's maybe a little bit melancholic, but it's also like warmth, it's recognition. It's this feeling of like, this has always belonged to my soul, I should have never let it go. So something muted or forgotten is coming back and taking precedence again. And that's where your shadow work pays off, because You didn't bypass the hard stuff, pile 3. You faced it and you went back. You sat with old patterns, old wounds, maybe even old coping mechanisms, and instead of like judging yourself for having those, you tried to understand them. And that's why this blessing feels safe. This is not you regressing, this is you integrating. And then the Wheel of Fortune comes in, and this is the turning point. This is the moment where it clicks into place. This is you realizing why things felt grey for a period of time, why life felt muted, why you were in that preparation stage. It couldn't have happened any sooner because you weren't ready, and now you are. This wheel turning feels like fate shifting in your favour, pal 3. You know, new options opening up, new paths becoming visible. You start to see where you're going and what you're meant to do next. For some of you, this could be meeting someone who feels like home and it's exactly at the right time. For others, it's redefining what home even means. Emotionally, spiritually, or physically. There's a sense of your roots being re-established, but in a way that actually fits who you are now. This can also show up as progress through therapy or emotional healing. That moment where you suddenly understand a pattern and you think, oh, that's why. And once you understand it, it loses its power over you. You're not fighting yourself anymore, you're actually working with yourself. And that's where the 9 of Cups reverse makes so much sense here, because this blessing, it's not about surface level happiness, it's not about ticking boxes. It explains why certain things never quite satisfied you the way you thought they would. Like why you might have tried to fill a void with work, with people, with food, with substances, with distraction, with achievement. It's not because you were broken, but because you were searching for something familiar and something real. And now you have compassion for that version of yourself. You understand why you did what you did. And more importantly, you know there's a way out, because it's like you've tasted real fulfillment again. This feels like kind of becoming a kid again, but not a naive kid. It's a kid who's lived many lives. An old soul with whimsy is what I want to say. Like someone who can feel wonder and excitement and curiosity again, whilst also feeling emotionally safe and grounded. It's like you don't need the same crutches anymore. You're not chasing these quick dopamine hits. You're living in the moment and actually like inhabiting it. There's laughter here, there's warmth, there's emotional safety. There's a sense of like, I'm okay, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and that's the blessing. It's not just a cheap high, it's not a thrill, it's not a fantasy, but it's like this deep embodied sense of belonging within yourself. It's like discovering what actually matters, and something from the past could be really, really significant here, whether it's an old passion you forgot about or a person, like reconnecting with what actually matters. So now we're going to move on to your third and final blessing, pal 3. Just going to move these cards to one side. Okay, so we have got the 7 of Wands, we've got the 8 of Wands, and we have got the Queen of Cups. This third blessing for you, pal 3, it feels like the moment where everything you've been rebuilding internally finally becomes unshakable. And it's directly tied to an undiscovered gift and a power within you coming fully online. I keep getting that phrase, coming fully online. So maybe it has something to do with being online. That's not going to be for everyone. But yeah, with the 7 of Wands, there's a really clear message about you holding your ground. But it's not in a defensive or combative sort of way. This isn't about fighting for survival. It's about knowing what's yours, knowing who you are, not shrinking, not feeling the need to justify, and not backing down when that idea is tested. It's like you've uncovered something really, really important about yourself, a gift, a truth, a strength. And now that you've seen it, you're not letting it be minimized. It's this point where you realize, oh, this is what I have, this is what I carry, this is mine. And once that clicks, it's like you're no longer willing to give your power away, not to other people, not to circumstances, not to old versions of yourself that were operating from like numbness or self-doubt. What's significant about this is that a lot of this comes after that deep period of shadow work, that thawing, that colour returning. This isn't you being guarded because you're afraid, it's you being selective because you are finally embodied. You know what trains you, you know what nourishes you, and you know this gift that you're stepping into needs to be protected so that it can grow. And then that 8 of Wands comes in, and this is where things really start moving fast, because once this gift opens, once you claim it, once you're like, yeah, this is mine, everything else lines up around it. Momentum builds really, really quickly. Opportunities, messages, invitations, ideas, it's like they start coming in all at once, like the universe has been waiting for you to catch up to yourself. And before, this kind of movement might have felt overwhelming, but now it feels exciting. You're like, okay, I'm ready, I'm awake, let's go, let's get this. Because You're no longer moving blindly, you're moving from this place of alignment. There's a strong sense that once you decide, once you plant your feet and you say, this is who I am now, the universe responds immediately. Doors open, conversations happen at the right time, paths that were invisible suddenly become obvious. It's this feeling of like, yeah, everything clicking into place because you stepped into this role that you were preparing for all along. And you know, we end with that Queen of Cups, and this is where the soul level power comes in, because the gift you're unlocking, it isn't just practical, it's emotional, it's intuitive, and it's deeply, deeply spiritual. This is sensitivity as strength, emotional depth as sovereignty. This is you embodying the Queen of Witches energy in a very real way. You know, intuitive, compassionate, powerful, and fully, fully self-possessed. You are sovereign and you are sensitive, you are soft and you are strong, you are open-hearted, but you also have boundaries, you know, but it's also being emotionally grounded. It's you holding your feelings without drowning in them. You trust your intuition without second guessing it. You're no longer trying to harden yourself to survive. You're allowing your emotional intelligence to lead. I really feel like people feel safe around you this year. People trust you. They open up to you. And instead of that like draining you, it kind of feeds you, because this gift you carry is meant to be shared in a way that doesn't cost you yourself. You are pouring from a full cup now. The Queen of Cups understands how to do that. So this third blessing, it's like the embodiment of your power, the protection of your gift, and the acceleration that happens once you claim it. And you move forward quickly at that point. You move forward confidently and very, very intuitively. You're guided by your soul, but you're still like anchored in your emotions and you are rooted in that sovereignty. You're not rushing anymore, but you're not like frozen either. You are activated. This is the year of activation, and this is what changes everything. And I also want to say, with this Queen of Cups energy, there is absolutely something about a third eye awakening happening here. It feels like things start making sense in a way that they just haven't really, maybe for years. You know, it's that grey cloud lifting, and suddenly your intuition isn't whispering anymore. It's clear and it's steady and it's very present even in your everyday life. And when I say intuition, it isn't just for those dramatic moments. This is you waking up each day feeling like your soul is online, like you're receiving guidance constantly through feelings, through synchronicities, through these subtle nudges that just make sense now. Like, you don't question them the way you used to, you trust them and you lean into that. It's like your higher self finally breaking through the fog and saying, you know, I've been here the whole time, but you can actually hear it again. You start reading between the lines of your life. You start understanding people more deeply. You understand yourself more deeply. Situations that once confused you suddenly feel super obvious. Not in a harsh way, but it's in this like calm, grounded knowing. And that's why this power feels so different. It's not frantic. It's not something you have to force. It's this embodied wisdom. Everyday life just starts to feel more purposeful and more aligned. It's like your soul is finally leading and your mind has actually learned how to follow. So I feel like this is a good place to finish your reading and to move on to your tea leaf confirmations to tie this reading together nicely. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, pile 3. Okay, so we have got Horseshoe, good luck. We've got September. We have got Ring. A marriage will take place, either romantic or business. And we have got Star, guaranteed success. Okay, pile 3. I am honestly not exaggerating when I say this is one of the best tea leaf spreads you could have received. Let's start with the Horseshoe. The Horseshoe is classic good luck symbolism, but this doesn't feel like random accidental luck. This feels like earned luck, karmic luck. It's the kind where things start falling in your favour and you're like, oh, like, well, this is just what happens when I finally trust myself and when I move in alignment. So you might notice that you keep getting lucky breaks, doors opening, being in the right place at the right time, but it's not because you did nothing. It's because of the shadow work that you've done. It's about the endings that you've accepted, the cycles you've closed, and the direction you've finally chosen. Things click and then life responds. And then we have September, and this feels really significant. For some of you, this could literally be relating to September 2026, especially depending on when you're watching this. This could be a month where you really notice how much has changed. But symbolically, September is also about preparation and harvest. And you've done the hard graft. You've tended to your crops. You have lived through those winters where you didn't know what to do with yourself, where things felt cold or numb or uncertain. And now it's like the harvest is imminent. there's this sense here of like, I don't have to feel the cold anymore, I'm protected now. This upcoming September could look very different to past ones. There is abundance where there used to be anxiety, there's warmth where there used to be greyness. And then the ring, wow. Yes, for some of you, this could absolutely be literal if you're expecting that, if that would make sense to your situation, an engagement, a marriage, a business partnership, a contract being signed, your name, your signature on something important, a house even. But for many of you, this feels like a commitment to yourself, you know, choosing your life, choosing your path, saying, I'm not just dabbling anymore, I'm not sitting on the sidelines, I'm fully in, I'm committing to this, I'm doing this. This is engagement energy, like you engaging in life. No more half-hearted attempts, no more ghosting your own dreams. You're putting the ring on the finger of the life you actually want, and you're saying, this is the one, I'm tying this down. Locked in, you're locked in. You know, whether that's love, whether it's a creative calling, a business, a home, or a new version of yourself, you're choosing it with certainty and you're fully locked in. And then we end with the star, guaranteed success. Not potential success, not like, oh, maybe if you try hard enough. Guaranteed success. Listen to that. Guaranteed success. This is your time to shine, pal 3. Spotlight energy, main character energy, not in a Truman Show kind of way, not trapped, not observed, not stuck in the same loop over and over again. It's free, it's autonomous, you're alive. I also keep hearing randomly Lucky by Britney Spears, the bit where she's like, she's so lucky she's a star, but she cries in her lonely heart. If there's nothing missing in my life, then why do these tears come at night? Something like that. And honestly, that could have been you before. Like, it's that knowing that deep down you had something special and something really powerful, something meant to be seen, but like still feeling that void, not being able to access it yet, crying behind the scenes while life looked fine on the surface. But that was the universe preparing you. And now, you know, with this card and with that Wheel of Fortune that we saw earlier, this is divine timing clicking into place. Everything makes sense now, why it had to happen this way, why it took its time, why that grey phase existed, why you were stuck in millennial grey land. And now it's all coming together. You start to wake up excited again, you start to just feel alive again, and you trust yourself and you trust your life, and you're no longer like numb, you're no longer waiting, and you're no longer preparing. You're just living, and it's all coming up for you, pal 3, and honestly, you have earned every single bit of it, so you should feel proud of yourself. So that is what I'm getting for you, pal 3, and that is where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. If we don't speak again before we head into 2026, I just want to say a huge thank you, truly from the bottom of my heart, for being here. This channel is coming up on 2 years now, and I genuinely do not think I'd still be here doing this if it wasn't for you guys. Watching, liking, hyping the videos, leaving the kindest, sweetest comments, sharing my readings, and just showing up with so much love. Like, you guys have single-handedly restored my faith in humanity in ways you probably don't even realise, and I do not take that lightly. So if this reading resonated, the best ways to support the channel are to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype if you feel called to. Hype is officially a thing now, so go fucking wild. It really does help more than you know. I'd also love to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know what resonated, what clicked, claim your pile. Let me know what you're most excited about stepping into 2026. Go ahead and claim those blessings. Hype each other up too, share the love. You know, if you see someone else's comment that resonates, gas them up too. We're not gatekeeping our abundance this year. Thank you again for trusting me with your energy today. I hope the rest of this year treats you so gently, and that the new year meets you with clarity and colour and excitement and so much abundance. Take care of yourselves, pal 3. Lots and lots of love, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi, pal 4 Collective. If you chose the Cosy Witch Tarot and the Candy Cane Hot Chocolate sticker, and you chose pal 4, you are in the correct place. Welcome to your reading, friends. If you'd like full details on what to expect from this reading today, please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But first of all, happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. I hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves as we move through this transition. This reading is titled, What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? alignment and blessings entering 2026. So this reading is for those of you who are done carrying old BS energy and are ready to step into 2026 clearer, lighter and more aligned, because things are finally shifting in your favour. And if that resonates, if you want to claim that, please take this as confirmation that you are exactly where you're meant to be. So without hesitation, let's get started and let's take a look at the first few oracle cards we pulled for you. These are going to represent the overarching energy of your year ahead, and as mentioned in the intro, you can use this portion of the reading as an energy check before we move deeper into your blessings. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Powerful. Over here from the Wise Witch Oracle, we have Enlighten. Illumination is near. A period of enlightenment and clarity awaits. We have got so much collective energy that surrounds this idea of clarity and enlightenment. That's really interesting. We've not had this exact same card come up in the previous piles, but we are getting a lot of messages about like just knowing. We just know in this collective. Yeah, enlightenment. That's really cool. So from the Hefty Oracle, we have got Of the Earth, build a steady foundation. From the Modern Witch Spiritual deck, we have got Emotions. Alexa, play Emotions by Destiny's Child. That's what's coming through right off the bat. Maybe some of you guys used to like that song. Sorry if I just like set your Alexa off. I didn't think about that before I said it. And from the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle, we have got number 17, Flower, Be Honest with Yourself. I always like to start off these readings by mentioning the numbers on the cards when we are using cards with numbers, so I'm going to do that. So over here on this flower card, we have the number 17. So that, or the individual numbers 1, 7, or even 8, if we add the two numbers up, could be relevant for you. This might connect to a date, an age, a birthday, a life path, an angel number or synchronicity you've been seeing a lot of, an astrological house, or the sign associated with that house. So for you guys, something significant could have happened to you around the age of 17, or even in the year 2017. Some of you could be born on the 1st, 7th, or 17th of a month. We could have some January or July babies here. I'm also getting Aries, Libra, or Scorpio placements might be significant. But with that Emotions card, I am really thinking of water sign energy too, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But also we have Of the Earth, like build a steady foundation. I mean, I pretty much just listed all the signs there, haven't I? But we have Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn if we're thinking Earth signs. So Earth and Water, a combination of those in your chart, that could be significant. That doesn't have to apply. These are just random confirmations before we get fully into the reading, so don't worry if they don't. And I actually got something really specific coming through. I'm hearing The Edge of 17, which I think is a film. I've not seen it, so I am just going to Google it really quickly, just in case anything in that film is significant. So the film stars, is it Haley Steinfeld? And her character's name is Nadine. So either the name Haley or the name Nadine might be relevant, or the themes of that film could be relevant. I think it's a coming of age kind of story. Themes of messy emotions, feeling misunderstood, bottling things up, trying to hold things together. And even if you haven't seen that film, that energy feels very present for this pile. I'm also hearing the song 17 Forever. I think it's by, is it Metro Station? I used to listen to it. It used to be on my gym playlist when I literally remember listening to this song when I was 17, and the lyrics are something like, we won't be 17 forever, but we can get away with this tonight. Something like that. And it's literally so crazy, like how visceral the memory of me listening to that song when I was 17 is. It feels like it was yesterday. And it really, really wasn't. But there's a strong nostalgia thread running through this pile. A longing for who you used to be, or who you almost were, or who you felt you had to abandon in order to survive or grow up or be responsible. That's coming through. Now, in terms of the random confirmations that are coming through, I've got some that feel very, very sensory. I'm seeing specifically like cozy, creative, grounding activities. Some of you could have recently done something crafty or hands-on. I'm hearing wreath making. So maybe you made like a festive decoration. I'm seeing something about personalized ornaments, maybe baubles, angel decorations. I'm also seeing like doll houses or dioramas with like fake snow. I'm also seeing colouring books, Crayola. I'm seeing gel pens. Some of you could work with children, or you are around children a lot. You could be teachers or caregivers, or maybe you've received a drawing recently from a child and the drawing is on your fridge, like a Christmas drawing. I don't know, that's relevant for someone. Warm drinks are coming through strongly. Maybe you guys love your tea, your coffee, your hot chocolate. And I also keep hearing by the fireplace. And yes, for some of you, that is literal. Maybe you've just like recently turned your fire on, or you have the fire on every night. But I'm also specifically getting, is there a perfume called By the Fireplace, the replica one? I'm not making that up, am I? Like something about a warm, smoky, comforting scent. A wood burner, that could be relevant. Marshmallows and a wood burner. I'm also getting something about sweet tooth, someone having a sweet tooth or craving sweets recently. And I'm also thinking of like, is sweet tooth the Sabrina Carpenter perfume? So that might be relevant if somebody has that. I'm seeing freckles, red or strawberry blonde hair, wavy or, beach wave hair care routines. I'm seeing fairy or fae-like energy. Some of you feel very connected to nature, forest, foraging, mushroom, berries. I'm seeing muddy boots and raincoats. There's something very gentle and earthy and natural about you. I'm also seeing like a lot of orange symbolism, like the colour and the fruit. I'm seeing clementines, tangerines, the name Clementine might be relevant. Vitamin C, orange energy and orange aura. That can relate to warmth, creativity, enthusiasm, healing and spiritual transformation. Joy starting to come back online. I'm hearing storm in a teacup. I'm also hearing surfs up, something about a surfboard. Again, that beach imagery. So yeah, those are the random confirmations. Now let's talk about who you are, pal, for, because this matters. You are someone who sometimes, not gonna lie, you bottle things up. It's not because you're dishonest, but because you don't want to be a burden. You don't want to upset people. You sometimes don't want to rock the boat. You might be someone who prides yourself on getting on with things, on showing up, on being dependable, being the emotionally intelligent one. You are often the one holding space for other people. And because of that, at times your emotions can sometimes end up like shoved in a corner somewhere. You're like, I'll deal with that later. And it feels like the energy you've been in with that emotions card, that later caught up with you. So this past year, or the years leading up to it, I want to say, have felt like that storm in a teacup. Externally, maybe things didn't look catastrophic, but internally there was a lot going on, a lot of emotional pressure or suppressed frustration, grief, resentment, exhaustion, and you kept holding it together until one day you couldn't anymore. This year feels like the dam bursting. And I want to be clear, this isn't you breaking at all, this is you releasing. With Enlighten and Be Honest with Yourself and the Emotions card, this year brings moments where things just spill out. Conversations where you say something and immediately you think, oh my God, did I say too much? Like, oop, should I take it back? But the twist is, instead of being punished for your honesty, people are going to be thanking you for it. They're going to be saying, do you know what? I needed to hear that. Or like, you're the first person who has been honest with me. Thank you. You are not being reckless with this. You are being truthful. And this is a truth that has been needed for a long time. Some of you may have noticed that bottling things up has started showing up in your physical body as of lately. So, stress responses, fatigue, weight changes, appetite changes, cortisol holding, or, feeling inflamed or heavy or numb. And what this year brings is a massive emotional release that also creates physical relief. I'm getting tsunami. So at first, for you, it feels like destructive, but it's something about a big wave. I'm seeing a big wave, huge wave. I keep getting this message about a big, huge wave. But it's going to lead to this physical relief in the aftermath. And funnily enough, I'm getting a random song now. It's actually, I think it's a Celine Dion song. Is it A New Day Has Come? I've not heard this song in a long time, but there's a lyric that's like, let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the walls for a new sun. A new day has come. That's exactly what this feels like for you. It feels like a cleansing. It feels like a reset. It's a fresh start that comes after you let yourself fall apart a little. And the rebuilding phase is huge for you, powerful, with Of the Earth. This year is about creating stability. It's not rigid control, but it's a supportive structure. It's a routine that holds you, but it doesn't trap you. This could look like very physical things, reorganizing your space, clearing clutter, redecorating, moving furniture around, creating a home environment that actually feels safe and actually feels grounding. It could be journaling and planning, using a diary, meal prepping, getting into this rhythm with your days instead of just like winging it every day and hoping for the best. There's also something here about honouring your emotions in your routine, making time to process instead of just trying to power through. It's building rest into your schedule. It's getting into movement practices that ground you, walks in nature, gentle workouts, yoga, stretching, not just with the intention of like getting a snatched waist or whatever, but because your body needs to feel safe and strong again. This is about rebuilding from the ground up, but it's emotionally, it's physically, and it's energetically. This year it's going to be about less chaos and less suppression. It's more presence, it's more honesty, and it's more steadiness. And the beautiful thing about this is that once you release what you've been holding on to, the clarity comes flooding in. A clear path forward is visible. There's no more living on half-truths or self-betrayal. This year, it's the dawning of a new day for you, Pal 4. And it's not because everything was wrong before, but it's because you're finally living in alignment with the truth of who you are. Yeah, this year has massive, massive themes of emotional cleansing. It's like you're washing away all of that like messy, stagnant, swampy emotional gunk that you've been wading through, so something genuinely beautiful can form in its place. And it's not about destruction, it's this purification. It's clearing the ground so you can rebuild on soil that's actually fertile. And with that theme of routine building, there's a really big message about like, in the past, if you have felt like you were building routines in spite of your emotions, like pushing through, suppressing, treating your emotions like an inconvenience that were just getting in the way of you sticking to your routines, like something you had to overcome in order to function. This year, you're learning how to build a life that works with your emotions instead of against them. So you're actually factoring your feelings into the equation, and that's a good thing. You're recognizing that ebbs and flows don't mean that you failed, and they don't mean you've fallen off track. They're actually a part of being human. And, instead of collapsing when your energy dips or judging yourself for needing rest, you are actually asking, okay, what supports me? What is sustainable for me if I take into consideration these ebbs and flows? This is about figuring out how you want your life to look, but on a very practical level. So you're figuring out what you want your days, your weeks to look like, your energy output, your responsibilities, and you're designing something that honors both your growth and your emotional reality. You're learning how to move in tandem with your feelings, not to override them. And honestly, you feel ready for this. You're not resisting it. You're not dragging your feet. You're excited about it. Some of you might already be feeling this energy where you're kind of going out there, hermiting a little, leaning into more cozy nights, pulling your energy inwards, not because you're depressed or you're avoiding life, but because you're preparing. It's like you're getting your paperwork together, filing what needs to be filed, clearing things out, planning ahead, laying foundations. You are nesting in a way that feels deeply intentional. It's like you're building something really real and solid and something that can actually hold you. So this feels like a really good time to move on to your first blessing, Pal 4. Let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, Pal 4, I'm just going to move your little hot chocolate to one side for now. Let's have a look at the first 3 tarot cards that we pulled for you. So this will be your first blessing, and we have got the 8 of Pentacles. Sorry, but fairies aren't going to come do all the work for you. We have got the 6 of Wands. You're kind of a big deal, so start acting like it. And we have got the Empress. There is beauty to be found in every experience. I'm getting something about nursing. Are some of you nurses, or you are currently breastfeeding? That could be relevant. Maybe some of you are pregnant, or you are hoping to experience childbirth or breastfeeding in this upcoming year. That's just a message for somebody. I can't help but say it with that Empress. But yeah, Pal 4. This first blessing is really powerful and it's deeply earned. What I'm seeing straight away with this particular 8 of Pentacles, it's that there's a huge shift away from hustle culture, but not away from hard work itself. This isn't about giving up discipline or commitment. You have that in abundance, and that's part of this blessing. It's about refining how you show up and learning how to work in a way that supports you instead of burning you out. Because the 8 of Pentacles doesn't just show up on good days, they show up every single day. It's consistency. But that doesn't mean showing up at 10,000% power all of the time, and that's such an important distinction. There's something here about learning that consistency is far more valuable than perfection, especially if you guys tend towards perfectionism, this blessing is asking you to release the idea that you have to give everything all of the time or else it doesn't count. And I really want to stress this. Consistency does not mean pushing past your limits. It means learning how to show up within them, because so many of us make these amazing plans on our very best days when our energy is high, when we feel motivated, and we forget to factor in other days, and then that's when we fall off track, because we make these plans and we're like, okay, I'll do this every single day, and then life happens, energy fluctuates, emotions come up, bodies need rest, and suddenly it's like, well, I can't do it properly today, so what's the point in doing it at all? But this blessing is you breaking that cycle, and you're learning to ask, what does showing up look like on a good day? What does it look like on an average day? And what does it look like on my very worst day? And instead of abandoning yourself when things feel harder, you honor those days and those processes. You know, maybe it's doing a 5-minute workout instead of an hour workout. Maybe it's just showing up at all, but you still show up. And that's what matters. This is especially meaningful for those of you with fluctuating energy. You know, if you struggle with chronic illness, emotional cycles, hormonal shifts, or neurodivergence, you're no longer punishing yourself for having limits, you are respecting them. And ironically, that's what actually builds momentum. That's what creates sustainability. And that is what gets results for you. You can't do the same thing every single day, and that is okay. You're still getting the results. And that's why the 6 of Wands comes in next, because when you find a way of doing things that genuinely works for you, not burnout, not forcing it, people notice. You start receiving recognition, compliments, validation, people pointing out that you're glowing lately, you're more confident, you're more grounded, you're being picked, chosen, recommended, but you're not a pick-me. You're not a pick-me, but you're still being picked. Opportunities start opening up because you want to be consistent for yourself, and because you're showing up as aligned and authentic, not because you're exhausting yourself in the process, not because you're showing up like, look at me, I'm the best, I do it 100% perfectly every day. No, it's not about that. You know, this recognition feels clean, it feels earned, it feels very affirming. And I want to sit with this 6 of Wands for a moment, actually, because this recognition, it doesn't feel shallow or ego driven. This isn't about you chasing applause. This is people noticing the work, not just the result. The 6 of Wands coming after the 8 of Pentacles, it means that people aren't just celebrating you for like a fluke or one lucky break. It's like they're actually responding to your devotion and your consistency and the way you kept going even when no one was clapping yet. So some of this recognition might surprise you. It could be someone saying, you've really changed, or you seem so much more confident lately, or, you know, I don't know what you're doing differently, but it's really working. Sometimes it won't even look like praise at first. It'll look like opportunities and invitations and being trusted and being chosen. And a big part of this is self-recognition too. You stop dismissing your progress, you stop minimizing your own effort, you stop telling yourself that it doesn't count because it wasn't perfect. You actually start giving yourself credit, and that internal validation becomes absolutely magnetic. And because the 6 of Wands is right next to the Empress, the recognition you receive doesn't drain you and it doesn't pressure you into performance. It feeds you, it reinforces that you're doing something right. People feel safe rooting for you, they trust your leadership, and they respect your boundaries. You're no longer invisible, but you're also no longer overexposed. You're seen on your terms, and that's why it feels so good. And the Empress, it takes this blessing to a whole other level. The Empress is abundance, nourishment, embodiment, and growth. Growth that happens very naturally without force. This is slow living energy, nesting energy, creating something that actually feeds you back emotionally, creatively, possibly financially. And for some of you, yes, this could literally be something in gestation, pregnancy, if that's something you want. But more broadly, this is about birthing something. A project, a routine, a lifestyle, a version of you that's rooted in compassion instead of pressure. You're no longer asking, how can I push even more? You're asking, how can I sustain this even on my worst days? And that shift changes everything, because the Empress doesn't grow things by force. She creates the right conditions that allow growth to happen. And that's what you're doing right now as part of this first blessing. You're honoring your humanity, you're respecting your rhythm, and you're showing up with devotion instead of punishment. And the universe meets you there with recognition and opportunity and abundance. This is confirmation that you are on the right path and what you're building has longevity, and you don't need to rush it because it's meant to last. It's meant to be a long-term thing. So this seems like a really good place to move on to your second blessing, pile 4. So let's just move your cards to one side and look at your next 3. So we have got the 10 of Cups. Okay, but sometimes it really is all rainbows and smiles. We have got number 13, Broom, which is the Death card. Tidy up your life so you can make space for something better. Okay, that's what we've been talking about. And we have got 2 of Swords. Wake up. What is it that you truly want? Pile 4, your second blessing is deeply emotional, deeply cleansing, and honestly very peaceful in a way that feels earned. With the 10 of Cups showing up, this blessing is about emotional fulfillment, but it's not the kind of emotional fulfillment that comes from just like pretending everything is fine. This is real, true, authentic, raw alignment. It's real harmony. It's the kind that settles into your body and it makes you feel safe to exhale, to breathe out. You know, what's important is how you get there, because that broom, that death energy, this isn't loss for the sake of loss. This is intentional clearing. It's sweeping away emotional residue, old patterns, old fears, old coping mechanisms, old stories you've been telling yourself about what happiness is supposed to look like. And this lines up really, really beautifully with everything we've been talking about so far. This year is asking you to emotionally declutter, to stop carrying feelings, resentments, guilt, or unspoken truths that were never meant to stay with you forever. You are not suppressing emotions anymore, but you're also not drowning in them. You are clearing them consciously. And this could manifest in the physical too. Like we said, that sort of preparation phase of like physically reorganizing and clearing things out. But emotionally, this could look like you finally having a hard conversation that you've been avoiding, letting yourself grieve something properly instead of pushing it down, releasing a version of happiness that no longer fits, even if you once wanted it very badly. Because the 10 of Cups tells me what you're making space for is so much truer than what you're letting go of. And then we have the 2 of Swords, which is such an important part of this blessing, because it shows you're not being forced into change, you are choosing this. The 2 of Swords is conscious decision making, it's clarity, it's no longer being paralysed by emotional overwhelm or indecision. Before, it may have felt like your emotions pulled you in opposite directions, you know, your heart wanting one thing and your logic wanting another, and you were stuck in the middle just trying to keep the peace, often at your own expense. This blessing is you learning how to sit with your feelings without letting them control you. You're no longer avoiding the truth, but you are also not rushing yourself into decisions before you're ready. It's like you're weighing things carefully, calmly, and with a lot of self-trust, and that's why the fulfillment lasts. This 10 of Cups, it doesn't come from fantasy or denial, it comes from alignment, from emotional honesty, from sweeping away what no longer belongs and protecting your peace going forward. This could be a turning point in relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships, chosen family. It could be redefining what happy actually means to you. It could be you finally feeling emotionally at home within yourself after a long period of inner conflict. And the most beautiful part is that this blessing does not feel chaotic, it doesn't feel dramatic, it feels settled by this point, like calm water after a storm. Like you finally trust yourself to make decisions that honour both your heart and your boundaries. This is you choosing peace, not because it's easy, but because you know you deserve it. With that said, let's move on to your third and final blessing, pile 4. I'm going to move your cards aside so we can look at your last 3 tarot cards, and then we're going to finish up with some tea leaf confirmations. Okay, so we have got the 2 of Cups. Some people are like pumpkin to your spice. We have got 9 of Pentacles. Pause and savour the results of your success. And we have got the 3 of Wands. Put yourself out there and you'll be rewarded one way or another. I'm getting the song One Way or Another. Maybe some of you guys have a love-hate relationship with pumpkin spice. That's something I'm getting. I'm getting that some of you have tried to like pumpkin spice, but you just don't. You just can't force yourself to like it. And others of you absolutely love autumn and pumpkin spice everything. So take that as it resonates. That's just a random extra confirmation. But yeah, pile 4. Your third blessing is where everything that you've been clearing and rebuilding and grounding finally meets the outside world. This is the point where the inner work becomes very visible and tangible and very, very rewarding. With the 2 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Wands together, this blessing is about mutual alignment, independence, and expansion. And it feels very grown, it feels very embodied. It's you saying like, I know who I am now. The Two of Cups here isn't just romance, although yes, for some of you it absolutely can be, but at its core, this is mutual recognition. It's being met where you are. It's feeling seen, chosen, respected, reciprocated, without having to like overextend, over-explain, or abandon yourself to keep a connection alive. So for some of you, this could very well be a blessing about meeting a partner, or it could be deepening an existing relationship. And it's in a way where things start to feel easy in a way that maybe they never have before. So you understand yourself and others around you better, and vice versa. They understand you. Communication flows. Emotional safety is very much present. You're not like walking on eggshells. You're not second guessing yourself either. It feels like two people choosing each other, you know, not one person carrying the emotional load for both. For others, you know, this Two of Cups could show up more as like a business partnership or a creative collaboration or a friendship where you finally feel genuinely aligned, like someone who respects your boundaries, someone who values your time, someone who meets your honesty with their own honesty. And the reason it works now is because you've done the emotional cleansing. You're no longer bonding through survival or obligation or suppression. You are bonding through choice, deliberate choice. And the Nine of Pentacles is so important here because it tells me that this blessing does not come from any form of dependency. This is you standing firmly in your own independence first. Financially, emotionally, energetically, you have learned how to self-soothe, how to meet your own needs, how to create stability within yourself. This could look like feeling proud of the life you're building, enjoying your own space and your own routines, feeling confident making choices on your own, money feeling more stable or you feeling more empowered with it, knowing that you can make the right choices, receiving compliments and actually believing them, you not waiting to be saved or validated, you knowing your worth. And you are attracting those situations that reflect that energy back. It's very much like grown man, grown woman energy, like Neo, Miss Independent. That's always the vibe this gives me. The Queen of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles both give me that vibe. I know we haven't got the Queen of Pentacles here, I don't think. No, I don't think we've had that. But definitely the Nine of Pentacles. You know who you are. And then the Three of Wands, that opens the horizon. You know, this is expansion, it's new opportunities, it's looking ahead with optimism, not dread. It's the energy of having done the groundwork and now being ready to step forward. And for some of you, this could mean going somewhere new. It could mean travel, a travel blessing, a holiday, vacation, moving, exploring, expanding a project or business, making something bigger, applying for something you previously felt underqualified for. Just you like saying yes to opportunities, you not being afraid to branch out and like saying yes to things that maybe previously you would have talked yourself out of. And energetically, this is about trusting the future again, whereas before you might have felt stuck or unsure or uncertain about whether things would change. And now it's like you're at the edge of something new and you're not anxious, you're just curious. You're no longer asking like, oh, what if it goes wrong? You're asking, what if it works? And what if we could actually expand this outwards and make it bigger than it is now? And the most beautiful part is that this blessing does not pull you away from yourself. It doesn't require you to abandon these grounded routines that you've created. You can still live in emotional honesty. This is the most honest thing you've done in a long time, in fact. You can still live within that self-respect that you've built. It grows from those things. You're not chasing, you're not forcing outcomes, and you're not shrinking to fit. You're like standing in your power, you're open-hearted, but you're also self-sufficient, and you are like genuinely excited about what's ahead. And interestingly, you know how earlier we talked about that Six of Wands and we talked about acknowledgement and compliments and people noticing your effort? The Three of Wands takes that energy and expands it outwards. So it's not just one person seeing your growth anymore. It's not just a small circle. It's you thinking like, what else could we do with this? And getting recognized for that. It's more people seeing you, knowing your name, recommending you and saying like they're doing really well. So if you work online, if you work creatively or you work in any kind of visible space, this can look like traction in that area, you know, things spreading further and reaching wider. And for some of you, yeah, that could even be something like going semi-viral or reaching a much bigger audience than usual or a much bigger audience than you expected because you're being more yourself, like you're being more honest and raw. And when we're in alignment, when we're acting in authenticity, the good things come to us. They can't not. They are magnetized to us. There's a gravitational pull. And yeah, the reason this expansion happens is because you didn't rush it. You nurtured what you were building. The roots were strong. The foundation was solid. So whether this is like a literal pregnancy or something more metaphorical that you're giving birth to, an idea, a project, a business, a creative path or a version of you, you are branching it outwards now. The growth doesn't collapse, it continues and it expands, it broadens. And that's really, really exciting for you, Pal 4. So that is what I'm getting for your third blessing. We are now going to finish this reading with some tea leaf confirmations. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you, Pal 4. Okay, so we have got Apple, temptation will test you. Okay. We have got Valley, deep personal strength and peace that assure success. We have got October. That's cool because we got the Two of Cups card with like the pumpkin patch on it. That's cool. And we've got, how is this pronounced? Yoke? Is it pronounced yoke? I don't know. I'm really sorry. Feeling tied down or frustrated. Okay. It doesn't really matter how to pronounce it because I know the vibe. Don't you worry. So your tea leaf cards, Pal 4, are telling such a grounded and honest story, and they tie everything together really beautifully. Let's talk about this yoke card, feeling tied down, first of all. I want to get that out of the way. I feel like this speaks on how you might have been feeling up until now. There's been this sense of frustration this past year, like something weighing on you, something tying you down, and it's not because you're weak, but because you haven't always been able to fully access or articulate your emotions. It's like you've been carrying something heavy internally without a clear release. And this year is about you not only making peace with your emotions, but learning how to work with them, how to translate them into something supportive instead of something that drains you. You're realizing release cycles are not failure. Rest and expression and clearing and pause, they are not detours, they are part of the process. And I don't know if yoke is the right way to pronounce this, but I keep wanting to say yoke, and it makes me think of that phrase, equally yoked, especially with the Two of Cups energy that we got earlier. You're no longer forcing yourself into systems or relationships or routines that require you to carry more than your share. You are learning what true balance feels like internally and externally. And yeah, this is going to sound really random, but with me mentioning yolks, I keep thinking about eggs, and I know this is a different kind of yolk, but stay with me here because I have chickens, okay? If you follow me for a while, you might know that. I've mentioned my chickens before. And when my pet chickens need to lay an egg, they get very restless. They pace, they fuss, they're clearly very uncomfortable. I mean, who wouldn't be carrying around a massive egg? And that is the point here. Carrying an egg around is exhausting, and that's exactly how this has felt for you. You know, tiring, heavy, like you've been holding something in for way too long. But when the egg is finally laid, when the release happens, there's immediate relief. And chickens do this thing called the egg song, where they just want to tell everyone in the neighborhood that they've laid an egg, and they start singing really loudly, like they're proud of themselves. So that's the thing here. And you know, it might look messy at first, but it's necessary. And that's what this year is for you. It's the release, it's the letting go. It's the moment where what you've been carrying finally comes out so you can move forward feeling so much lighter. Now, with the Apple card, temptation will test you. I do want to say this gently. There may be moments where you are tempted to go back to old ways. And that's normal. You know, old productivity patterns, old pushing, old I'll just override my feelings and get the result faster things, especially if you've been someone in the past who can push hard and has done that successfully in the past. But this is the test. It's choosing the new way anyway. It's choosing to work with yourself instead of against yourself, because the Valley card is the truth here. You've developed deep personal strength and inner peace that assures success. And a valley isn't flat. There are dips, there are climbs, there are easier stretches, and there are harder ones. And sometimes it's rocky, but you know how to navigate it now. You know how to self-regulate. You know how to slow down without giving up, and you know how to keep going without burning out. And that's why this actually works long term. And then we have October, which feels really significant. So for some of you, this coming October is when you really see the tangible results of everything you've been changing. There's something about cycles drawing to a close, softer season energy, a winding down where you can actually enjoy what you've built. And I'm getting really cozy imagery in my head right now, you know, warm lighting, comfort shows, maybe pumpkin patch energy, thinning of the veil energy, protection around your energy. And it feels like contentment, it feels like safety, it feels like being able to breathe and say like, yeah, this feels right. I feel cozy, I feel good. So overall, these tea leaf cards aren't warning you, they're actually validating you. You've carried a lot, you're releasing what needed to be released, you are choosing a healthier way forward, and because of that, life starts to feel less like constant uphill pushing and more like a grounded walk towards something genuinely fulfilling. Alright, pal 4, so that's what I'm getting for you, and that is where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. If this reading resonated, I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Tell me what hit, what clicked for you, what you're releasing, and what you're rebuilding as you move into 2026. Please feel free to claim your pile, claim your blessings, and as always, hype each other up in the comments too. We are not gatekeeping our abundance this year, and if you'd like to support the channel, the best ways to do that are to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. If you feel called to do so, it genuinely makes a difference and helps these readings find the people who need them. With that said, thank you so much for spending this time with me, pal 4. I'm wishing you the softest, coziest holiday season possible. I'm wishing you a very peaceful end to the year and a new year that feels honest, steady, and deeply aligned. Thank you so much for being here, pal 4. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi Pal 5 Collective, if you chose the Inspired Neon Tarot and you chose this gift sticker, and you chose Pal 5, you are in the right place. Welcome to your reading, friends. If you'd like details on what to expect from today's reading, please check out my introduction. I go through absolutely everything there. I will also leave some details in the pinned comment below for your reference. I would recommend checking at least one of those out so you know what to expect from this reading today. But first of all, happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. I hope you are doing well and I hope you are taking care of yourselves as we move through this transition. This reading is titled What's Finally Shifting in Your Favour? Alignment and Blessings Entering 2026. So this reading is for those of you who are done carrying old BS energy and are ready to step into 2026 clearer, lighter, and more aligned, because things are finally shifting in your favour. And if that resonates, take it as a confirmation that you are exactly where you're meant to be right now. So without hesitation, let's get started and let's take a look at your confirmations and the overall energy of your year ahead. And then we'll move on to your blessings. So we're going to start by looking at your oracle cards. So starting over here, we have got from the Wise Witch Oracle, Focus. Focus your energy, your intentions hold great power. I know that's right. From the Hecate Oracle, we have got Crossroads, a new path awaits. How exciting for you, Pal 5. We have got from the Modern Witch Spiritual Oracle, Dream. And from the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle, we have got number 42, Homeward. Take yourself out on a date. Alright, Pal 5, I always like to start off these readings just by mentioning the confirmations that are coming through, and I usually start by mentioning the numbers. So here we have number 42. So 42, or the individual digits, 4, 2, or even 6, if we add 4 or 2 together, could be relevant for you. This doesn't have to be the case for this to be your pile. It's just an extra confirmation if this does apply. So this could relate to a date, an age, a birthday, a life path, an angel number, or synchronicity you're seeing a lot of, or even an astrological house or the sign associated with that house. So some of you could be 42 years old right now, or you will be 42, your next birthday. Some of you could have birthdays on the 2nd, 4th, or 6th of a month. Some of you could be born in February, April, or June. We could have strong Taurus, Cancer, or Virgo placements here if we're talking about houses. And now the number 42 in and of itself is actually really interesting because culturally it's known as the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and honestly, that feels weirdly accurate for this pile. There's something about you being the answer or having an answer for everything. So some of you guys could be a little bit witty, a little bit sassy, like, yes, you really do have a comeback for everything, thank you for asking. So spiritually, you know, the angel number 42 speaks to, I was going to say faith, trust, and pixie dust. I don't know why. Yeah, well, I guess so. Faith, trust, and divine support, and also building something meaningful through focused effort. You know, it blends grounded energy with balance and partnership, which fits this pile so perfectly, and we'll talk about that. But as far as confirmations go, I'm also getting really strong Mercury dominant energy here, so Gemini and Virgo. Very sharp minds, sharp intellect, very mentally active. You could have the kind of brain that just never shuts up. I'm also seeing a signposted nature trail right now, like clearly marked paths. I'm also seeing a train. I'm seeing a train driver, a train conductor, something about movement, momentum, going through a tunnel, choosing a direction and sticking with it. That's coming through. Birds could be relevant. With that Homeward card, I'm also thinking of the film Homeward Bound. Some of you could have loved that film growing up, and I believe is one of the dogs called Shadow. So shadow work could be relevant. I'm also getting animals in general could be relevant. You could be the kind of person where animals love you, like dogs, cats, pets in general. You may be very connected to animals. I'm also getting something about Ariana Grande's Cloud perfume. And actually, with the card Focus, I'm thinking of the song Focus, the lyrics that are like focus on me. That feels very symbolic. Something about all eyes on you this year, whether you intend that or not. Maybe that's uncomfortable for some of you. I'm seeing a dream catcher. I'm also seeing a sundial. And I'm hearing Crossroads by Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. We've had loads of like older songs coming through today, songs from different decades. But also I'm hearing like, do you guys remember the Blazing Squad remake of Crossroads? I don't know whether Blazing Squad was just like a very niche British thing or whether like, because I know a lot of my audience is US, so I don't know whether you've even heard of them. But yeah, old songs, nostalgia, spiritual crossroads energy as well could be very significant. Some of you may receive profound messages through dreams, especially involving ancestors or loved ones who have passed. There's something about an ancestor who was at a crossroads, or who met you at a crossroads, because I'm thinking of the lyrics in that Bone Thugs-n-Harmony song. Yeah, conversations in dreams that feel important, even if you don't remember every single word, but that could be really, really significant to you this year. The colour purple is coming through very strongly here. Deep plum, burgundy, lilac, glowing violet, all kinds of purple. I'm seeing that in my mind's eye. Some of you could have a purple aura, but I'm getting something about like different shades of purple, so it could go different shades of purple depending on your mood. I think purple aura is associated with like strong intuition, third eye and crown activation, spiritual sensitivity, wisdom. Purple jewellery could be relevant. I'm also getting something about scrying. I'm seeing a tree branch. I'm also seeing a new pen. Like somebody getting a fancy new pen. Something about writing here is very important. Some of you guys could be writers. Maybe that's part of your job, or maybe you are creative writers. That is your passion. Yeah, back to dreams. Dreams are a huge theme that keeps coming through. Vivid dreams, prophetic dreams, big 12th house energy. Some of you may have Mercury in the 12th house. I'm also seeing moving boxes, unpacking. I'm seeing the game unpacking as well. Some of you might play that. I'm seeing organising. Some of you could have moved recently. You are moving, you're in that process, or you are actively searching for your dream home. Like looking on Rightmove, looking at property sites, imagining your future space. Vision boards could be very relevant here too. So yeah, overall you guys are giving me someone who's very mentally sharp. Even if none of this stuff resonates, this is what I'm getting. You're very mentally sharp, spiritually plugged in, and you're standing at a turning point where focus becomes your superpower this year, Pal 5. So let's talk about that. Yeah, because the biggest word for you guys is focus, but it's not in like a rigid, hustle yourself into the ground kind of way. This is very much intentional, directed, purposeful focus. It's the kind that comes from finally knowing what you want, instead of drifting between various options or entertaining every possibility just because it exists. With focus coming through, your thoughts, your intentions, and your mental energy are incredibly powerful this year. What you concentrate on grows. What you feed attention to becomes real. And if you have been unfocused, it wasn't because you were lazy, it's because maybe you've been dreaming in too many directions at once. But that changes this year. This year, it feels like you're getting locked in, you're buckling down, 10 toes down, you're standing on business, you're getting precise about your goals. There's one particular dream, a path, a vision that rises above the rest, something that becomes clear to you, and it's something you've thought about again and again. And instead of fantasizing about it, you're gonna start asking, okay, like what actually needs to happen to get me from A to B, from here to here? That's very Mercury dominant energy. It's that mental clarity, strategic thinking, problem solving, planning, execution. Your brain is working overtime this year, but it's in a way that finally feels productive instead of just anxious or indecisive. With that Crossroads card, it's clear, Pal 5, you've been at a turning point. Some of you could have felt torn between paths, unsure which direction to commit to, or like you've been kind of half in and half out of multiple things at once, like trying things without fully choosing. But 2026 is the year where it feels like you commit. So this could be choosing a career path, getting serious about a creative project, deciding what kind of relationship you actually want, committing to your health goals, or finally choosing yourself instead of endlessly accommodating everything else. And once you choose, once you pick a path, momentum builds incredibly quickly. And that ties beautifully into that dream card. Your imagination, your intuition, and your subconscious are extremely active during this time. Daydreaming for you isn't a waste of time, it's a tool, and you're going to use it as a tool instead of just letting it pass you by. That's the thing. When you imagine your future, you are not just visualizing outcomes, you're feeling into embodiment. Before, when you were daydreaming or imagining things, it could have felt almost like you were an actor in a theatre production, like just trying out different roles and wearing the costumes but not really embodying any one role. And this time it's like full like method acting, literally, you know, when actors like lose or gain a significant amount of weight to fully embody the role, like they live as that character. It's going to be that, like that level of commitment, full embodiment, you feeling into that. So, you know, you asking, how does future me move? How do they speak? How do they hold themselves? How do they make decisions? And you're learning how to become the version of you who already has the thing, and then you act from that place. So you're an amazing manifester this year, and your dreams themselves, it's like we said, they're going to be huge, they're going to be really vivid. You could have very symbolic dreams, huge conversations in dreams, messages that don't really make sense immediately, but the next day you will think about them, they will linger. Writing your dreams down could be incredibly helpful during this time. Again, there's that strong 12th house energy coming through. Also a message about subconscious guidance, intuition, prophetic insight. And then we have that homeward card, take yourself out on a date, which feels like such an important anchor for this pile. This year you become deeply comfortable in your own company. You stop wanting to fill silence just to avoid being alone with yourself. You stop dragging people along just because you don't want to do things solo. You start asking, you know, would the version of me I'm becoming be afraid of doing this alone? And the answer is going to be no. And even if you are a bit scared, you do it anyway, you know, whether it's going to the gym alone without a buddy, getting coffee alone, going walking alone, traveling alone, dreaming alone, not because you are isolating yourself, but because you're aligned and you enjoy your own presence more than you enjoy the presence from maybe people and situations who aren't really giving anything of value to you. It's like you trust yourself a lot more. You don't need constant external input to validate your direction anymore. And this could actually also apply to you guys who you always feel like you have to have something on in the background instead of being alone with your own thoughts. And I'm calling myself out there massively because I'm someone who always has to have like music or a podcast or YouTube on in the background whenever I'm just like existing, even when I go to sleep. So yeah, you could be like enjoying silence more this upcoming year. And I do want to elaborate a little bit on this focus card because it's not just about productivity, right? It's about making yourself the priority in a way that maybe you never fully have before. Yeah, you might find yourself spending more time alone, but it's not in a way that's lonely. It's in a protective but also a proactive way. Like you are less available to the things that drain you. You are more exclusive, you are less willing to entertain distractions, less interested in pouring energy into situations that don't align with the future you're building. And what's interesting is it doesn't make you less attractive, it makes you more magnetic. Your energy becomes concentrated instead of scattered, and people start noticing like, oh, Pal 5 has changed, they've done something different. You might walk into rooms and catch more eyes without trying, or people might feel like they have to bring something of value to the table to access you. And they do. To access your time, your energy, your presence, they have to bring something good that aligns with this future version of you. And it's not because you're closed off, but it's because you're very invested and focused on your growth. But that focus, it's self-directed energy and it's incredibly alluring. You're not chasing attention, but attention starts finding you. And that's the biggest shift for you. If something doesn't align with your goals, it goes in the bin. If something drains your energy, it goes in the bin. If something distracts you, it goes in the bin. Not dramatically, not in a very emotional, over-the-top way, it's just deliberate, it's precise. This is a year of mental fortitude for you, of clear thinking, of clear communication, clear intention. You say what you want and you mean what you say, and everything you do has a purpose in mind. Even on bad days, you don't spiral and abandon your vision, you adjust, but you stay on track. Pile 5, you have huge manifesting power this year, not because you're trying harder, but because your focus is undivided and you're not standing at the crossroads anymore. You're going to be walking the path, and it's the path that you have chosen. So that feels like a really good time to move on to your first blessing, Pile 5. Let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, so I'm going to move your little sticker here. Okay, Power 5. We have got the Three of Swords. We've got the Three of Pentacles. And we've got the Empress. Okay, Pile 5, this first blessing is all about transmutation, deep catharsis, alchemy, and turning pain into power. And I want to say this clearly right at the start. This Three of Swords, I don't think that's something that's coming. This is something you've already been through. I get that impression because this is showing up in a blessings reading, but it's something that cracked you open this past year. So a heartbreak, disappointment, loss, betrayal, or this moment where you realize something you were wrapped up in wasn't going to be what you thought it was. And for many of you, this was something that was emotionally all-consuming at the time. You know, this could have been, as just one example, it doesn't have to be this, obviously put it into the context that best applies to you. But let's say this was a relationship ending. This could have been a situation where somebody ended things with you and you were like genuinely distraught and praying, like crying out to the universe, to God, to anyone who would listen, begging for this person to come back, for things to be revived, for things to change. You were like lying awake at night, replaying conversations, stalking social media, bargaining with the universe, like, you know, if I just get this one thing back, I'll be okay, please bring it back to me. And in those moments, all of your life force, whatever this applies to, it's like all of your focus, all of your manifesting power was pointed outwards at something that ultimately couldn't meet you where you were. And here's the blessing part, Pile 5, you did not lose that power, you rediscovered it. I'm seeing this huge internal switch, and it's this moment of like, I'm done with that. Like, I've felt my feelings, I've cried, I've done all the crying I can do, this broke me open, but now I'm moving on. And it's not any kind of suppression, it's not avoidance or anything like that. This is a completion of a cycle. And you have done this, like, you realize in this that the same intensity with which you loved and you hoped and you prayed and you wished is the same intensity you can now turn inwards towards your own life, your own future and your own dreams. And this is like the blessing of willpower returning, focus returning, direction returning. It's all that emotional energy that once had you on your knees, it's that becoming fuel. You transmute it and you say, you know, I'm not wasting another ounce of myself on something that isn't aligned. And, you know, heartbreak, by the way, just to clarify, it doesn't have to be romance. For some of you, it could be losing a job and panicking, feeling like your security disappeared or was like ripped right out from under you overnight. For others, this could be a friendship ending, it could be a family rift, a dream not working out. But whatever it was, there was a point where it felt unbearable. And now it doesn't hold the same power over you. There's this moment of clarity where you realize, almost with shock, like, oh, I actually don't care about that anymore. I know how wild that feels, like when something that once consumed you, like you could never envision a time when you didn't care about this thing. That feels wild to think like that could be the case, but it doesn't mean you never cared. It means you processed it, you integrated it, you let it move through you instead of staying stuck inside you. If this grief was tied to an actual loss, it doesn't mean the love disappears, it means it stops becoming all-consuming, because you realize that there is still life to live, joy to experience, and a purpose calling you forwards. Your life force returns to you in this blessing, Pile 5. There's also almost like a pedestal shattering moment here. It's like you put this thing or this person, whatever it was, on a pedestal, and it's kind of this moment where you're saying like, they weren't special, I made them special in my mind. And that is not bitterness, it's empowerment. I'm actually hearing Janae lyrics loud and clear right now, the song where she's like, you weren't special till I made you so. And it hits even harder because you chose that gift sticker at Pile 5 and you are the gift. And this is you realizing you always were. And now it's time to unwrap yourself and stop giving all of your magic away to situations that can't hold it. So this blessing is you taking everything you wanted to pour into someone else, the care, the effort, the patience, the devotion, and finally giving it to yourself, pampering yourself, choosing yourself, spoiling yourself, saying, I deserve this. It's like you become your own best friend. You become your own teammate. You're that person who will pull yourself out of bed in the morning and be like, come on, we've got better things to focus on. Stop wallowing in this shit. You start noticing your good qualities again too, like your humor, your intelligence, your warmth, your presence. You're going to catch yourself making a joke and then thinking like, oh, that was actually really funny, like I'm actually hilarious. Wait, I actually bring a lot of joy to the rooms that I'm in, and it's not in an arrogant way, it's just in this grounded way of you like remembering how powerful you are and how much influence you have over yourself and over the rooms that you occupy. And there's something here about your emotional processing speed. you still are going to feel things deeply like you always have, but I think you're going to be moving through it a lot faster now. So one moment you might be crying, thinking something's the end of the world, and then the next moment you're like, oh, actually I'm fine, I just needed to cry, I needed that release. So it's emotional agility, emotional maturity and strength. And I can actually relate to this. So I don't know whether you guys have like any similar placements to me, but I put this down to my Scorpio and Sagittarius placements. So I don't know whether, like I say, you have similar placements to this or you're just stepping into this energetic era. Well, I have heavy Scorpio energy, but I also have like a lot of Sag energy in my chart. So with the Scorpio energy, I feel things really, really intensely. I can be very hypersensitive. I feel things like full body on this soul level, but then with the Sag energy, I sometimes, like, once I have felt that and I have like crashed out and got it out of my system, once I've processed it, I'm very much like, oh, I'm over that now and I'm never going to think about it again. So that could be you. Like, maybe you move on surprisingly fast, and it's not coldness, it's resilience. Like, you've already survived one of the worst heartbreaks of your life and you rebuilt yourself, so now when things happen, they don't knock you off course in that same way, and you trust yourself to handle it. And that's why, instead of spiraling, you pivot. And that's where the Three of Pentacles comes in. You start building again deliberately with people who see you, people who support you and collaborate with you. There's very much like village energy as part of this blessing. And it's interesting because, you know, we said about you doing things alone. Well, that's going to be a choice thing, because it's better to do things alone than spend time with people who aren't being a village for you. So when you do spend time with people, it's very much with the right kinds of people who are like uplifting you. You know, if you were isolated or controlled or emotionally drained before, this could be a positive circle closing back in around you, you know, friends reminding you who you are, new connections forming that feel energizing and not depleting. And yeah, opportunities you once begged for might come knocking again. People may want your time and presence. An ex might resurface and pop up out of the blue. A job might reach back out. A situation that once ignored you may suddenly be like chasing after you. But the blessing is you don't even want it anymore. Because your focus has shifted. You've turned inwards, you're being precise with your energy, very selective, very proactive, and that's exactly what makes you magnetic. And then we land on that Empress, where everything softens, it stabilizes, but it also expands. You know, this is huge glow up energy on a cellular level. I keep hearing on a cellular level. Genuinely hearing cellular change. You are not the same person you were when that heartbreak happened, and your body knows it, your nervous system knows it, your aura knows it. This is creation energy, it's nurturing energy, it's abundance, it's fertility, literal or metaphorical. Something is growing now because you finally cleared the emotional debris blocking it. You're not building from desperation, you are building from self-trust. And people will be asking, what have you been doing lately? Like, you've changed, what's going on? And you'll know the answer to that, and that's that you chose yourself. That's the blessing. The thing that broke your heart no longer controls you. The focus you once gave away has returned to you in full force, and you're using it now to build a life that wants you back. And that feels like a good time to move on to your second blessing, Pal 5, because I'm so excited about what's to come for you. So let's move these cards to one side and let's have a look at your next few. So we have got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got the Page of Wands. And we have got the Queen of Pentacles. That is gorgeous, Pal 5. Okay, yeah, this blessing is big. Biggest you've ever seen. And honestly, you know, between the Ace of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles, this is like one of those definitive you've arrived energies. It's not flashy, it's not like super performative though, it's very like grown and rooted and self-possessed. This second blessing, it's about a new beginning that actually sticks, is what I want to say. This isn't just like a pipe dream, an idea. It's not like motivation that starts off big and then fizzles when life gets inconvenient. With the Ace of Pentacles, the universe is placing something tangible directly in your hands and saying like, do something with this. Like, come on, Papa, do something with this. And you're like, hell yeah, I'm ready to do something with this. So it could be an opportunity, a resource, a seed, a little tiny itty bitty baby seed, but it's very real world and it's very practical. It could be something, I'm getting something to start you off with. So like, I don't know, let's say this is like a business venture. This could be somebody investing in your business, like giving you money or resources, like a loan or a grant or something to get it off the ground. It's something like that. It doesn't have to be related to that example though. It could be like a job offer, a financial opportunity, a savings goal, could be an opportunity to move, a lifestyle shift, health or body transformation. But it's like something, this is the starting point. It's something you can build on, and it's not like a side quest. This is very much like main storyline, main character energy. And with the Page of Wands, what's beautiful about this blessing is that it doesn't feel heavy. It feels really, really exciting. It gets you feeling inspired again and curious again. You get that spark of like, oh wait, I actually want to do this. There's enthusiasm here, but it's guided. It's you acting on an idea that maybe you've been sitting on, trying something new that aligns with your vision and saying yes to something that maybe feels a little bit scary, but it feels right. That's the thing, it feels right in your soul, and there's joy in the process again. You're not just surviving, you're actually like creating. And then with the Queen of Pentacles, this is where it lands. The Queen of Pentacles paired with that Empress energy that we saw before, it's like you are very much stepping into that I'm good energy. You're secure, you're embodied, you're respecting yourself fully. Like everything you thought you needed externally before, whether it's validation or reassurance or permission, you realize that you have access to that within yourself. You're very much grounded, you're very much like giving stable and composed, demure and mindful. I'm sorry, I know we're not still doing that. I know that was like an old trend, but that is the energy you're giving me, very demure, very mindful. You get it. There's a quiet confidence here, Pal 5. You don't need to announce what you're doing. You don't need to explain yourself. Queen of Pentacles doesn't need to explain herself to anyone. You are just showing up, you're looking good, you're smelling good. You are moving through the world with this air of royalty and grace. Without arrogance though. People feel it when you walk in the room, they're gonna feel it. And compliments are going to start flowing. People saying to you, you know, there's something different about you. Some people are going to be a little bit mad about it as well. Like if there's that ex who shows up who always felt like you would never get over them, you would never stop chasing them. This is going to be you sitting in that energy of like, I have bigger fish to fry, babes. I have bigger things to be focusing on. And they're going to feel that. They're going to feel that difference. That's the thing. Everyone around you can feel it. You know, if insecurity or paranoia or self-doubt ever ran the show for you before, we're not having another season of that. You know who you are. You know what you want. You know where you're going. And you're not going to stop till you get there. And the focus is unreal. It is, why do I want to say unprecedented? It's like you have a vision and you stay very loyal to it. This isn't daydreaming anymore. It's vision plus lifestyle alignment. You are tailoring your routines and your choices and your environment and your energy so it supports the future you're building. You channel your passion into something sustainable. You are like cultivating this dream life, and people are really curious and they want access and they want your advice, but you're not getting distracted by that. You're too focused, you're too loyal to the dream. You're minding your business and you're flourishing, you're saving, you're planning, you're building, and you're looking forward to things. Very demure, very intentional. Not everyone gets access anymore, and it's not because you're cold, but it's because you have too much self-respect. So this blessing is the abundance that you can hold. It's stability that you can sustain. It's power that you're not like having to perform. You're in your Empress Queen of Pentacles era, secure, focused, rooted, radiant, and fully devoted to the life you're building. So that feels like a great time to move on to your third blessing. And what's funny is like when I started this reading off, because I've done a few piles today and I've been talking for a really long time, I felt a little bit like I was getting tired, and now I feel like a resurgence of energy. So I feel like that's a big theme for you, Pal 5, because now I feel like all hypey and just like excited again, and like I could talk for so much longer, which don't worry, I'm not going to talk for that much longer, but yeah, I'm just going to tell you the things you need to hear. Okay, but let's move these cards to one side so we can get onto your third blessing, Pal 5. Okay, so your third blessing, Pal 5, we have got the World. We have got the Hermit, and we have got the Emperor. Oh my god, what in the Major Arcana is this? What, Pal 5? What? Because this third blessing is going to be huge, let me tell you. And it ties your entire reading together in the most satisfying and full circle way. The World, the Hermit, the Emperor. This is completion, it's mastery, and it's sovereign self-leadership. This is the kind of blessing where you don't have to change anything, you just arrive. Like with the World, you are closing a massive chapter of your life, and I don't mean a small cycle, I mean a life-defining one. This is the end of a long karmic loop something you've been living inside of emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's like it's finally run its course, and you're just like doing the final touches of stepping into something. By this point, you're not having to change anything massive because you've already learned the lessons and you're embodying the knowledge of that. Like, you've learned what you needed to learn, you've experienced what you needed to experience, and there's this deep sense of like, I'm done. Like, and it's not bitter, it's not reactive, it's just like completion, you know? This can look like finally feeling at peace with your past, no longer replaying old stories, no longer living in a what if narrative. And what's powerful is this closure doesn't require a conversation, an apology, or somebody else's acknowledgement. It comes from within. You don't need anything else from anyone to move forward. It's integrating that understanding. That's part of this blessing. And you know, this hermit, he's coming in, and that just makes perfect sense. Like, after a chapter closes that's that big, you need integration. And yeah, it's that isolation, but it's not in a lonely way. This is that intentional solitude that we talked about. It's you choosing to step back and listen to yourself and actually absorb what you've learned. You are not hiding, you're calibrating, you're asking real questions. You're asking, like, what do I actually want now? What matters? What am I no longer available for? And the answers are coming very clearly. This is where your wisdom crystallizes, your intuition sharpens, you stop outsourcing your knowing, you've walked far enough on your path to truly trust yourself. And then we get that Emperor card, and that's where the power locks in. Power 5, this is you stepping into full self-rule, structure, authority, boundaries, leadership, not necessarily over others, but over your own life. There's no more drifting, there's no more negotiating with your doubts, no more waiting for permission. You make your decisions and you stand by them. You build systems that support you. You create something solid, whether that's a business or a career path, a body of work, a home, a lifestyle, or simply a way of living that just feels really, really unshakable. This is legacy energy. And tangibly, this can show up as taking on a leadership role, becoming your own boss, starting or solidifying a business, setting firm boundaries around your time and energy, committing to that vision that you've been circling for years and years. It can look like authority at work, property, structure around finances, being the person that others come to for guidance too, but it can also be internal. You know, trusting yourself so deeply that outside opinions stop shaking you. You know what you're doing and you know where you're going. And what I love most is the order of these cards. It's the completion, then the introspection, and then command. You didn't skip any steps. You didn't bypass the healing. You earned this authority by walking through it all, and that's why it lasts. This blessing is you standing at the center of your own life, and you're grounded, you're focused, you're very, very composed, and the past is behind you, your inner wisdom is fully online, and the future responds to your decisions. You're not chasing outcomes, you are directing outcomes. This is the energy of someone who truly believes in themselves and someone who is saying firmly, I've been through enough, I know myself now, and I'm building my life on my terms. And there is nothing more magnetic than that, Power 5. So that is what I'm getting for your tarot cards. We are going to finish your reading with some tea leaf confirmations. So let's have a look at what we pulled for you. Okay, so we have got Inkpot, problems to be resolved. Inkpot, did we not mention something about writing? We might have some writers who chose this pile. Writing could be very, very significant to you guys this year. We have success. Okay, 10th house energy, reputation could be relevant. Taurus energy, Capricorn energy. We have older woman, dealings or relationship with an older woman. And we have carrot, opportunity or windfall. Starting with that Inkpot card, problem to be solved. I got fucking chills when this came through because it ties so cleanly into everything we've been talking about. Writing isn't just important for you guys. Let me say that. It's actually one of your superpowers. You manifest best when you put pen to paper. I keep hearing something about a pros and cons list. Somebody being brutally honest about tangible reality, mapping things out instead of letting them swirl around in your head. Some of you are literally doing this right now. You could be making notes, and even if it's just in your phone app, I'm getting like journaling, scripting, planning, writing future self letters, or drafting outlines for something bigger like a project, a dissertation, a business, a life plan. And yeah, future self letters feels especially potent going into the new year. When you write, your processing speed amps, it jumps up, things things click, problems just like untangle. I'm hearing unfurl. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. This isn't just like thinking about it, this is you solving it. What I really want to emphasize here is that success is its own tea leaf card in your spread. Like, you just literally got a card that said success. It doesn't say potential success, it doesn't say eventual success, it says success. Full stop. This is the confirmation that the approach you're taking now, focused, intentional, deliberate, that actually works. That is part of your success. There's also this strong message I keep getting, and I'm hearing no more dilly-dallying. I don't know why that phrase keeps coming through, but it fits absolutely perfectly. You are not floundering anymore. You are not stuck at the crossroads asking like, oh, should I do this or should I do this? This is you finding your balance. You don't feel like a fish out of water. You're finally like comfortable in your own lane. And the example that keeps popping into my head is, it doesn't have to be this example for you. I'm just using this to describe the feeling. It's more about the feeling. But I'm thinking of like a student moving out of their parental home for the first time to do their first year of university. At first, you know, that can be terrifying, going from living with a parent to suddenly having to manage your own life and your money and your time and your responsibilities. And it just feels like everyone around you knows what they're doing better than you. That first year can be very messy, but then something shifts. Like later on, you're not panicking. By the time you get to your third year, you are focused. You know when the bills go out, you know how to organize your time. You feel more like a proper adult than when you started. You know what you're doing for your dissertation. That's the energy you're stepping into right now. You've learned and you're capable and you trust yourself and you know exactly what you're doing. And that flows perfectly into this older woman tea leaf card. And yes, for some of you, this could have something to do with an older woman, whether it's someone you're in a relationship with or going to be in a relationship with, or whether it's a mentor or a teacher or a mother figure, a boss, a guide. But energetically, it feels even more like you yourself stepping into that role. Like you become an empress, a queen of pentacles, grounded, feminine, nurturing, someone who knows what she's all about. You are mothering yourself now. You're nurturing your own growth. You're not like scrambling around for approval or trying to prove yourself. There's a deep, deep comfort with where you're at. And even a sense of like loving the age that you're in, loving how you're blossoming now. Maybe some of you are like in your 20s going into your 30s, or in your 30s going into your 40s. And, you know, that was something, especially if you're a woman, like that's always something we're taught to fear. And I really don't get that because for me, I'm in my 30s now and they are so much better than my 20s. And I don't know why any of us were ever taught to be afraid of our 30s. It was the time where I started feeling like a grown-up. And that happens sooner for some people than it does for others. Maybe some people do feel that way in their 20s, but I didn't. So yeah, but I keep hearing this message of the best part is yet to come. There's something really beautiful here about the privilege of getting older and enjoying it rather than fearing it, like feeling more confident and secure and rooted and sensuous with each passing year. That is really, really relevant for you guys. And it's going to be a really cool year for that. And then we have the carrot, opportunity or windfall. And honestly, of course we do. Of course we do. This is payoff energy. This is reward energy. This is what shows up because you're finally focused. You're finally clear. You can see in the dark. You're finally moving with intention. You know exactly where you are going and there's no confusion about which path to take. Your life force is steering you forward and you are listening. And this windfall, it doesn't have to be like just money, although for some, it could absolutely be like you're getting a blessing of an inheritance or something like that this year, but it's also resources and support, opportunities, offers, people showing up at the right time, doors opening without you forcing them, things start lining up in a way that's really unmistakable, and you'll know you're on the right track because it becomes so obvious. What I love most about this tea leaf spread is it just confirms the same message over and over again. Like you're no longer drifting, you're no longer guessing, you're doing, you're deciding, you're writing it down and you're committing, you're focusing. And because of that, success isn't something you have to chase. It's something that is responding to you. It has no other choice. So Pile 5, this really is your moment and this is really exciting. You're like seizing it with both hands and there's no going back. This is your year. Alright, Pile 5, so that's what I'm getting for you, and that's where I'm going to leave you today, my loves. If this reading resonated, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Tell me what resonated, what clicked, what you're focusing on, and what you're calling in for 2026. Please feel free to claim your pile, claim your blessings, and hype each other up in the comments too, because this pile, you are locked in. help others get on that vibe with you. And if you'd like to support the channel, the best ways you can do that are to like, comment, share, hype and sub if you feel called to. It genuinely does make a difference and it helps these readings reach the people who need them. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, Pal 5. I'm wishing you the softest holiday season, a peaceful end to the year, and a new year that meets you with clarity, focus, protection, and some very obvious blessings. Take care of yourselves, Pal 5, and I'll see you in the next one.